age of 28. It speaks of the 2 years he's had at the top level. Sean Manor with a chance to level the scores, and he duly does.
Love the work of Tanner Bruin. He's like a brand new recruit for the Cats. And it wasn't just the sidestep, but while he was sidestepping, he was buying himself time. His eyes were scanning the 50-metre arc. He'd thought about snapping on the right, then probably got into his head, well, I'm not going to snap on the left from this far out, so what's my best option? And he found it. It was Sean Manor just running into space. Really good composure from Tanner Bruin. Good attack on the ball from Jack Martin. He was able to get the arms free, get the hand pass out, and then it was up to Bruin just to find the right option.
So this tells you why they were the best team in the competition for scores per inside 50 last year, Geelong. It's because they lower eyes. They're not selfish. They will go to the best possible option. They proved it last year, and it started again this year.
Ollie Dempsey starting forward tonight. It's a very different looking forward line with Bo Dangerfield, Cameron and Stengel. Back in the middle, Blitzards had the best of that. Miller to Powell again. Atkins tagged rather than tackled. And back to Tuke Miller. He's only a couple of votes away from winning another best and fairest last year. Cats' systematic defence go to work from Stewart back to Guthrie to Bruin, who played off half-back for a half in that last community series match against Carlton, and his ball use was a standout. We've seen that a bit already tonight. Challenge there as well. It came to Smith, who read it perfectly and has given himself some space to use. Goes wide. Jeffrey spoils. Is there a body check on Martin? It was. And the former son, Jack Martin, played just under 100 games before he went to Carlton, and now he's at the Cats. He heads to Nevitt. And they're trying as a forward. He too gets some interference.
So just through the middle of the ground, this is the free kick initially to Martin. O'Sheen Mullen has now gone to Anderson. So O'Connor rolls over to Miller. Now O'Connor did a terrific job on Miller last time out. So Mullen to Anderson, O'Connor to Miller.
McAndrew the offender. The angle could not be tighter for Mitch Nevitt, and the kick reflects that. Witts had to decide whether to mark or not. Close hit. Back to Collins, the 150 gamer across to Noble. Disrupted play. Jack Henry, the pickup was fine, and the delivery to match just covers the required journey to Brad Close.
A little bit of a panic kick out of defence from Noble. He had a bit more time. He could have drawn, given the hand pass. They had numbers to run. He chose to kick. It was half a shank.
I think he would have gone for the boundary had not been the change of rules.
Possibly long and wide.
Played every game last year for the second successive season. And put that down to opening rounds. Good diligence on the mark from Closey. The ball gets over the boundary line.
That's the matchup Gaz is talking about.
Well, so they roll over again now. So that's twice they've changed opponents right now.
Witts commands the fronts. Bruin trying to burst through. And pass was a bit indiscriminate. Still do play in sufficient intent. And there you see it.
That's not something you see often in the forward 50, is it? It's normally allowed to be a throw-in.
Two milestone men. Ruland in 50 and Collins in 150. He'd like that one back. Dempsey gives Nevitt a fresh look. He'll miss again.
Oh, breathe a sigh of relief. He puts the hand up in apologetic fashion, Sam Collins. We've seen already, and we know it's just going to be highlighted all year. If you miss targets by foot, you're going to get punished.
Noble with the bounce to enable his kick to get right on line to Petrarca. Get the crowd moving. Closey thumps it down the line. Graham was his target, but
I used to say, if I hear AI one more time.
Tremendous pre-season, really filling out into his body, and big expectations as he delivered last year so often. There's the muscle and the might of the 150 gamer in Collins. And across to McAndrew. Not quite sure what he's going to do next, including giving Neil an almost. And he got safely to Rioli, and then to John Noble, who's running mate off half.
Noble flips the hand pass to Miller. Steadies himself. He's gone too wide there.
We saw Connor O'Sullivan read the ball better than Ethan Reid on the way in. Now, Reid, he's still learning the craft, obviously, but he's got to be able to read pressure up the ground and be that long target down the line.
Bruner's going up and down the wing. Holmes, the chance to probe forward for the Cats. Neil caught behind Collins. There's a few better spoilers in the game than him. Closey works it inboard. There's Zeke. Zeke Ewan's first touch. It's best forgotten.
Not a
But they've got a
memorable
good rousing reception from the crowd.
Love the defensive work of Sam Collins playing on Neil on that occasion. He took front spot, he dug the legs in, he got low, and he just said, I'm not getting moved.
The Hewlett's on hand, taking the number of his brother Bodie, or Bob as the older brother is called. The number 32, that was better, close to Reed. Humphrey already has a goal. Chance to steady from Noah Anderson. How's his left foot? Not far off the mark, but not quite.
First possession for Noah Anderson, so 8.5 minutes into the game, his first touch. O'Connor has now rolled onto him again.
Now Mullen's gone back.
They
Every time you talk about them, they change.
It's dead set sharing.
They just swap out of bounds on the full going on. A bit of ring rust.
Ethan Reid got his hand to the last inside 50 ball. That's all he needs to do. He needs to be at the contest.
Graham will give him some marking practice up front. Reid right in the middle of that pack. He went off a boot out on the full. I fancy off to Koning, and it will result in a shot of goal for... Just going to chat about it.
Definitely. On the line, please.
And Ethan Reid, for a fleeting moment, thought that he was going to get it. And then
But it was another good contest from him, guys. As you say, a good lead. He contested the mark well.
Bailey Humphrey on the move, slots his second. Terrific start for the powerhouse forward.
so whatever fleeting moment that Ethan Reid thought he was going to take that kick, there's the reason why he had to bugger off, because this bloke has got some unbelievable forward craft. And he had an interesting off-season, as the boys alluded to, but it does prove that you can ask to look around, and when it's denied, you can still come back and play good footy.
It wasn't a bad celebration after he kicked it either. There's the good leap from Ethan Reid that you're talking about, which is all you're asking the young man to do. Compete, compete, compete. And if you don't mark it, it comes to ground. That's a very animated celebration.
Very interesting. Fourth and the best and fairest behind the star-studded trio, so that gave you an idea of how he's regarded internally, as did the refusal to even contemplate a trade in the Petrarca move.
Both Humphrey and Christian Petrarca forward at the moment. Double-handed. There's Davies, worked away by Blitzarves. Mullen and Miller basically strangling each other. Mullen able to break clear. Not much of a handball. Anderson hunting it down. Long. 45 goals last year. Important component of the Suns forward line. Toppling over was Dempsey, still good enough to get the handball to Bruin, who had no mates in his side. Here's Christian Petrarca now, with all that strength and stealth, gets it deep to full forward. Good body work to deny King, and the free kick is going the Cats' way to O'Sullivan. Connor O'Sullivan's kick was a fair way off the mark. Goes to Hewland instead, who can turn onto the left, and the delivery towards Ben King, but ultimately too strong. And De Koning, his direct opponent, is able to play it out to Bruin as the Cats look to move it forward.
They're well set up down the line. Witts is 50 metres away down the line, so doesn't really want to go too long.
No chance on the switch either with all those inboard manned. So trust Humphreys, who was terrific in Origin for WA on his return off to Myers. Done a good job to get up from the broken thumb. Close and Myers combined, sidestepping his way, trying to give Bailey Smith a look, but coming the other way, Rioli. And in the off-season, second year as a son, took Miller.
So just two back over the mark kicks at half back. It's kind of against what we've seen in this pre-season, and even last night, the opportunity for Rioli to go.
Jai Farrell was the target. It's had for O'Sullivan to make the spoil. O'Sullivan hard on Weller. They scrap for it. It stays in motion momentarily. Threatens to get out and does. Davies back into the jam, gave it up. So Smith, errant hand pass. Miller. Close, he has a go. Davies, it's all a bit of a mess on the wing.
I think spirits of Nathan Buckley. John Chris Scott has an assistant. Up and down from Reed's kick. Manor in front, no means of disposing of it. Weller has better fortune to Rioli. They can chain them up now. Petrarca saw a gap and used it to perfection with a slippery ball. Proved too much for King. Careful as you go for Long. He ran into two Cats, and that'll be last disposal.
Well, it doesn't matter how slippery the ball is, you don't get better delivery than that, Ben King. You've got to be swallowing that one, going back, having the set shot.
He's put his hand up and acknowledged exactly that, Chase. Made a meal of it.
Just took his eyes off the ball.
O'Connor gets the Cats moving out the far side. Got the movement up front. Big ear for Ollie Henry. Pounds the Cats forward. The two marking targets, Neil and Nevin, it all went to ground. Collins and Andrew, not quite clean enough. Guthrie's doing his business up front. He gives Warple a look in the hoops.
Let off for Mac Andrew. You've got to be stronger over the ball than that. Easily pushed away, went to ground.
Weller, as they look to maintain possession, the short and then the longer kick, and allowed Stewart, I think he might have just come back off the bench.
He looked up and saw that Long was on his own, and by the time he kicked it, Tom Stewart was next to him.
Not ideal.
Not ideal. I'd like to see him go quicker off half back, the Gold Coast Suns. They get that opportunity to really just go, take a bit of a risk. Doesn't have to be perfect.
Cats having the same issues. O'Sullivan puts length on the kick, invites a leaper like Neil. Everett was there in the mix as well, but the Suns through Reid and now Rioli. Crafted back to the wing. Petrarca's found his touch early, and what a difference he could make. Long, smoothly through the middle, gives Humphrey a look to defend. He's able to keep it away from the exciting Lombard for now. Joined by Zeke Hewlin, a couple of young tyros perhaps for the Suns. Zeke off the right, sends it forward. Humphrey there, Stewart over the top of him. Terrific contest at ground level now. And the umpire couldn't split the difference.
How good was the win by Hewlin out there? So it was a dangerous kick.
Youngster, isn't it?
Yeah, he kept his feet, stayed in the contest. Looked a bit more dangerous though when they took it on.
Suns by 5, middle stages of the opening term. Reid down to Davies, gave it up. Myers, hit and hope. Miller is onto it, the most experienced of the Suns now. Works the hand pass forward. Anderson had it picked off. Humphreys loves to go. Sends the Cats down the wing. Pretty well read by Bodie Newlands. He was able to use Andrew. Leaked grounds. Nobles under pressure. Did okay. Reid's got Andrew on the inside. Matt took him on. Got caught. Able to release though. Bodie Newland sets the Suns up. Good looking ball. Well marked by Lombard. And Leo goes whack. League career. The first was such an exciting moment of 2025, and he's off into the fresh campaign.
There's a couple of things to get excited about here, Jace. He was over with Hewlin in that play earlier, Lombard, and the skill was outstanding. But I want to go back to Mac Andrew. They were outnumbered here in a big way, and he just, in the end, the ball is not at ground, it's at his feet, and he works his way through two. And once you get through two, he takes another two out. So he, all of a sudden, 4 Geelong players are out of the play, and then they're out. And then the finish from this bloke's exciting.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I just had to go at him about not being hard enough over the ball defence that time. And maybe he was berating himself after his previous serve, and he said, no, I've got to make this happen, and he did. Well done.
Young man's had a massive pre-season. A quarter of the PB to win the Suns pre-Christmas 2K time trial. He's got the confidence, a little bit of experience now, and it showed. They work the hands off half back. Reid's starting to work his way into this game. He's got a big opportunity tonight. Playing it wide to Lombard again. He's in the clear. You never know. He's had a bounce and he's able to temper his enthusiasm and the excitement of the temptation of going long and deliver it to Humphrey on the chest again, who is leading up at the footy very well.
I'm not sure it's a great matchup for Tom Stewart, which is not to say Tom Stewart can't defend one-on-one, but right now he's just playing 3 or 4 metres off the back and bang, Humphrey's hitting up at the footy. So maybe it's something they're going to have a look at. You don't really move Tom Stewart too often because you have such great faith in him, but it's the leg rope's getting a bit big.
Bailey Humphrey. 3 kicks for the night and 3 goals. Why would he think about leaving? What a start for the Suns. The young Suns have made a statement.
You talk about efficiency, you said 3 kicks, 3 goals, but it's the quality of the kicks. One from 50 where he had to arc out a little bit and he caught it perfectly. The snap around the corner from a tight angle, and that one, the set shot from 45 on the angle, was absolutely pure. It's amazing what a bit of confidence can do. And here's the matchup you're talking about, Gaz.
I mean, we're being hard. I mean, defenders, Tom Stewart's earned the right to try and read what's going on, but when the ball's coming in like it is, then you're going to be vulnerable.
But it's also smart. Don't give the Cats what they want. They want long kicks inside the 450, and they'll mop it up, so you lower the eyes and you hit the best target.
Around stoppage is where they're controlling it. So +7 contested footy, plus 2 clearances, plus 4 inside 50. You'd be happy with that, Damien Hardwick?
Thinking to the future in the combinations we're seeing from the Suns early days. Davies overwhelmed by Holmes, who gets to work in the middle for the Cats. They need to balance up against this surge. Mullen uses it well to blitz out. The run comes from Clark. Will he go all the way? He will. It was pure and it's through. Jake Clark strikes for the Cats.
So let's go back to the centre bounce here, and we talked about a pre-game. What did Geelong do about centre bounce? You know, their ruckman, how do they work out what the best combination is? Well, just watch here. So Blitzards contests the ball with Witts and then makes a decision to go. And when he goes, Witts just, for a split second, nothing that you'd hang him on, but a split second at his head turned, Blitzards gets involved in the play, and the finish there is just elite.
Well, it's a different mix, isn't it? It's the athlete against the brute. Although now we see Sam de Koning comes up and takes this.
Yeah. He came straight off Blitzards, yeah.
Jai Clark, the selection that the Cats got along with Jack Bowes from the Suns. A couple of years ago, he's had his injury issues. In fact, a halfback in the VFL and finished last year strongly. And this team an opening round. De Koning taking his turn in the ruck.
Thanks, guys. Straight up. Jared.
Blitzards having a rest. It's Towers over the top. Warble couldn't quite get a run out. Power made an impression early. Too strong for Miller. Byers just momentarily tackled high. Delays to the last possible moment and then some. Still finds a target. Hard-working Atkins. Spirit the Cats forward. Three-quarter kick set up for Dempsey. He's got Collins to contend with, which is no easy feat. Slumped over the line.
He's a smart player, Tom Atkins. Love the way he goes about it, because opponents are so happy to see a little bit of space once he's not all over them. And then when the Geelong get the ball, he's good at finding space and being used.
Neil rucking in the forward 50 against Witts. They crash all over top of Warple.
Will Graham was through the middle of the ground. Max Holmes, such an important player. He's had 5 touches, but Graham is the one that's been assigned responsibility.
Plenty on the move. Atkins and Martin, the 2 for the Cats. Graham gets thumped into the damp turf. Set up again. Witts almost to the outside. Martin, umpire topples over. Davies was in there. Holmes found a way to get a handball to Martin. What next was a tough question to answer. Dempsey, unpredictable, but creative always. Suns on the job when they needed to be defensively, very attentive. And no one was getting through that time. They lead by 11, but the Cats kicked the last goal.
Tight in the clinches. Witts, deft touch. Cats hunted. Atkins releases. Martin clean with a pick-up, but no room to dispose. Pick in the mini draft all those years ago. It's been a long and winding road for Jack Martin. I feel like he's got to the point where he trusts his body and might yet show his best in his 30s. It's going to be a shot of goal to Jack Martin.
Come on.
In the second half of last season, was used in all sorts of different ways. That is the sub on grand final day.
Well, they need him to hit the scoreboard, Jared. I think they would be hoping for at least 1 or 2 goals from him, given who's out on this side.
He's not going to trust himself with the distance here. Clark on the first bounce. Zeke's all over him. Leaving holding the ball. He will.
Like, look at this boy, Jace. He's had massive raps on him for a long time.
And he's got specially printed T-shirts. Every tick tells a story. The story of his 7-year-old list that he pinned up beside the bed. All bar the brown, though, have now been ticked off as he makes his debut tonight. Long had to sit on Humphries, didn't quite time the lead. Stewart on the tidy up. Searching for his numbers. Dempsey into space. Quick release. Humphries is hot. He got him, he got his hand pass away, but Long's pressure was enough to cause the turnover. And Closey's got the right to kick inside 50. Put it short of King. O'Sullivan kept it away initially. Petrarca ran into O'Sullivan. Good tackle from the defender. Cats survived the skirmish as it's cleared by Smith.
It was a great double effort, wasn't it, from O'Sullivan? And then Clark Battles a tight one at half-back and can kick to Martin's advantage. There's an option inside with Ollie Henry, but he decides to play it wide instead. No real marking target, although good work for Neil to get there late. Closest handball to Nevitt. Noble seemed to have most of the exits covered, though.
Outstanding defence down there. You called it Hutto Sullivan initially, and then the great support that came his way.
Renewed lifeline for John Noble as a son last year after his disappointment at Collingwood. Witz's kick stymied initially, well as handball, good though to Rioli. This is what they picked him up for, so he can run and bounce and run some more and kick them inside 50. Henry in front, had a yard on King, which was closed down. That was deemed a handball, there wasn't much in it. Stewart looking for a way out, awkward for O'Connor. Warple to Bruin. He is able to use his strength and skill, and already he's been able to display that tonight. He finds Guthrie. He could move it on forward for Geelong, but there was no obvious option. There was a better one there for Warple. He ignored Martin. He went long to Neil. Good contest at the back. Enables Ewan to get it to Noble and then to Collins. It could get awkward quickly here. Collins strong enough, made the right call. Powell to a turn of the body one way. Back to Ewan and then back to the goal square. Oscar Adams plays it nicely across to Jeffrey, and they do well enough and do better in the end and find Closey.
Capacity to break the tackle, got them out of trouble, the Suns. Powell, another whose reputation was enhanced as he played for Western Australia at Origin. Half back to half forward, Long and O'Sullivan scrap. Long trying to get out the back, too much on it.
Well, it was 4 minutes to go. It's slowed down a little bit, and I'm assuming first hit out. There's some boys out there that are struggling to cover the ground, but just this free-flowing open game that you expect to see is just stopped at the moment. Run from behind's not there. Geelong defence in the last 5 minutes has been fantastic.
Went straight to Holmes, so he was unopposed in the ruck with Geelong mucking up the nomination. 2 against 1, Neil made the spoil to keep it the Cats' way. Martin just needs a bit of overlap run. O'Connor's in trouble. Farah had him straight away to the wilder release and turns over. Anderson fashions the kick. Good pick up, Long. Nice run from Reid. Hand pass to Petrarca. First look at the sticks. Petrarca, oh, they'll love it. He's been through so much, finds a new home and an adoring public immediately.
A little bit of class from Chris Petrarca. But when I go back to the Noah Anderson kick, I know he's been well held thus far by the tag, whether it's been O'Connor or O'Sheen Mullen. He's only had the 3 kicks, and that one didn't look fancy, but there was nothing out wide. So he kicked a grubber kick back to where the Suns had some numbers. So the ball spills out. He's got nothing to his left.
Yeah.
A little banana along the ground to where he had a little bit of support. It was well handled by Long, and then they were able to fashion something. And this is not easy to turn and kick on the right foot. Oh boy, that's a good finish.
See, he was ambitious there, wasn't it? You called the kick magnificently, and that for Petrarca is when you're pushed off balance, like you thought, you go on the left. If you're going on the right, you need some time, and he got it there.
Once again, let to jump up on his own. Warple underneath. Petrarca, not just forward, but in the midfield as well. Davies tried to clean up his own mess, and in the end, Powell went to ground. He's able to hack it forward. Humphrey again, what an opening quarter he's had, and he's not done yet. Tries to share a bit of the love. The fumble from O'Sullivan. No damage done. Back to Bruin again from Blitzarves. Slalom on the way out. Humphrey has to jump. He's able to do that. Now he's got Long to deal with as well. He knew exactly where he had help, and it was good help. Pops it up for Reid. He's close here, and he hangs on both hands. Ethan Reid takes the mark. He's really tempted to pop it over the top, but decides against.
Forward half intercepts have been enormous in this first quarter. They've kicked 19 points from that source, which they were very good at last year. Con O'Sullivan on King has been superb. He's the one that will be up inside his jumper. King just hasn't come on the footy enough.
An intruder on the field at the other end. It's early for that sort of shenanigans.
He didn't last long.
He came second in that tackle. One was high.
Third season for Ethan Reid, 25 games for 22 goals 21, so goal kicking is one of those areas he is looking to improve on. But trained most of the pre-season on the wing. But needed up forward for tonight, of course, in the absence of Walter and Jamara Ugle-Hagan. Concussed 5 minutes into the match sim, but has recovered for tonight. Firing a little hard, in fact doesn't even hit the scoreboard.
Not a great kick, but he's competed hard. Good to see him get on the end of one. You spoke about Ben King before, Gaz. When Bailey Humphries turned around on the boundary at this side, he stopped on the lead. He thought, I can't get it to me, so he stopped. And O'Sullivan got in front of him, and that's why there was an interception. You've just got to lead harder and commit to it and trust your teammates.
A couple of footies on the field. This was an intruder, so more than we've needed in this opening term. Myers is looking for Holmes. Couldn't quite hang on, but Smith is there to lend a hand. His running mate. Noble's well placed. Close just did enough. Noble gets back after it. It's got support out the back. Adams got to stay in or be touched by Weller, and it did well. Sets Petrarca up. Like the look of Anderson. He's hot. Quick release. Noble on the fly. Got the kick off. And the Suns built their lead. 23 points in a term where they are taking full toll.
Christian Petrarca starting to have a big say in this. And
I thought that was an ambitious hand pass he went for.
I know, but then he's had faith in his teammates. And Anderson, under all sorts of pressure, makes it happen. So there's the handball. Look at this right hand, left hand handball. Right hand, bang. So I think Petrarca's been enormous in the last 10 or 12 minutes. He's having a massive say in proceedings, and Anderson's last 2 touches have resulted in goals.
And there's some real excitement about the Suns. When they take the game on, they have players that can make things happen. You can see the recipe for success.
Forward half again. Win the ball back in your forward half. 10 forward half intercepts for 25 points is something that Damien Hardwick would be over the moon with.
And the added potency of Noble and Rioli off half-back from last season carries on. Warple hunts it down, and Bruin's been one of the huge positives for the Cats in this opening term. Holmes able to just get himself steady and then takes off and has measured that kick. Wasn't far off Martin or close. Walked the tightrope. Martin, he already has one manner. That was going to be a hard angle to achieve off the right boot. And Collins is able to take the mark, doing what he does so well, leading them back in that defensive domain. Off to Miller, the former captain, long down the line. Blitzar's good contest in the air. Suns are ready at ground level. Petrarca has set a very high bar so far tonight. Slapped forward by Reed. Miller takes whatever was coming his way. Crash goes Powell. Smith with the tackle, but Miller prevails. Petrarca and Humphrey again. Again, selfless play. Gets it forward. King, free kick.
Wow.
Well, see, that's what happens sometimes. If you're prepared to really compete hard for the ball, get yourself in the right position. I thought Bailey Humphrey would have had a snap after kicking 3 already. Could have had 4 for the quarter. Unselfish.
It was,
he set the arms right around him. You see the left arm.
He did.
Now, what Ben King has to do here is take advantage of this. Go back and make sure of the kick.
He's as good at convert. I don't want to put the moz on him.
Well, this would cap a fantastic first quarter for the Suns.
It would. They've all had a say in this. Humphrey, Petrarca particularly.
4 goals won in the State of Origin. Career high 71 goals. Slots it through to be part of what has almost been a complete opening term here, an opening round for the Gold Coast Suns. And Ben King, he's their talisman up forward, and since he's come back from his knee reconstruction, he's really just got better and better, hasn't he?
There's no question about that. He plays week in and week out, continues to put himself in the right spot. He's not a massive possession winner, we know that. He doesn't get you 10, 12, 15. He might end up with 7 or 8 and kick 3 or 4. And that's going to do you. There's been opportunity today, or in this game already tonight, for him to come at the footy a little bit harder, and Jason's alluded to that. But he will keep presenting and keep putting himself in a position. But this bloke Humphrey and Petrarca, their score assists in this first quarter have been crazy.
The tandem Bulls are doing the damage. The 2 highest ranked players on the ground in the first quarter. Petrarca with 9 important touches and 3 goals to Bailey Humphrey.
7 goals to 2. The Cats were desperate for something late. Warple got them forward. McAndrew, though, after the drop mark of Ollie Henry. Jeffrey and Rioli, and back to Jeffrey. Blitzalf's cutting the angles, but he didn't take the intercept mark. That's a hot start from the Suns on a showpiece night. Signal intent and a perfect blend of the old and the young and the new in their lineup.
So quarter time and the Suns by 29. They're going to be one of the talking points come Monday night. AFL 360 moves into full gear Monday night. It's always coaches' night. Brad Scott, big year for him at Essendon, and Damien Hardwick. And he start the season with a big win over the Cats. It feels like it at this stage.
All right, folks, there we go. Footy is back. We've got to be happy about that. I'll tell you what, it's been a long few months since the grand final to the opening round. What a ring-a-ding-ding game this has been by the Gold Coast Suns. Petrarca, welcome in, Elvis. Manny, shouty. I tell you what, the Suns, they're looking good. They've got all the legs out there. The Cats are just chasing their own tail at the moment there. Good to see Nathan Buckley, assistant coach down there at the Geelong Cattery. But I tell you what, it looks like a warm evening up there at People's First Stadium up there on the Gold Coast. But it's the Gold Coast Suns, 7-1-43, doing the job over the Cats, 2-2-14. Cats, well, they're not getting much opportunity. Full run in this. It's a fast opening term here. Tell you what, the players certainly feeling it. Just slowing down a little bit late. Addy G, I tell you what, Suns are going well. The Suns are the team. I think they could be, well, the team to beat this year for the grand final. If it's ever going to be a season for them. This could be it with the inclusions of Petrarca, who looks really good in their squad so far up until quarter time and gone pretty well. We're going to pop over and have a little bit of a look at some of the disposals. Before we do that, let's just check out the lineups because we didn't get into that. And of course, let's check out the Gold Coast Suns. McAndrew, the back line. Ulan, Collins, and of course the halfbacks are Johnny Noble, Dan Rioli and Jeffrey. And of course the centres there for the Suns, Weller, Powell, Closey, the half forwards Petrarca, Humphrey, Graham, Reid, King and Lombard. Of course the forwards there, the followers are Witts, Anderson and Miller. And of course for the Cats, let's just have a look at their back line. De Koning, Henry, O'Sullivan, Guthrie, Mullen and Stewart are the halfbacks. The centres are Braun McConnor and Bailey Smith, of course. Dempsey, Manor, Close, the half forwards. And, of course, the forwards are Martin, Neal and Nevitt. Blixars, Atkins and Holmes are the followers. There we go for them. But it should be a ring-a-ding-ding game. All right, they are your lineups. Let's go and have a little bit of a look at the disposal getters. We'll have a look at the goal kickers so far. Actually, we'll have a look at those, Eddie. Coming up. First quarter, Bailey Humphrey. There we go. Thank you, Mother, for the Rabbits. He don't miss. He's got 3 straight goals off his 5 kicks. So he's had a ripping first quarter. Petrarca slotted one. It was an absolute ripper. He was going from his left to his right. Put it on the boot. Bended it back nicely through the goals. Johnny Noble, the backman, he's kicked one there for the Gold Coast Suns. Lombard and King also have sealed the deal with a single there for the Suns. For the Cats, though, just singles on the board so far. Sean Manners got one with Jai Clark. That is all disposal getters. Let's have a look at the magnets out there. And I'll tell you what, the top 4 all come from the Gold Coast Suns. Of course, Tuke Miller continuing off his fantastic form from last season. His opening term, 10 disposals with 5 and 5. That's 5 kicks, 5 handballs, couple clearances and a tackle. Christian Petrarca, the new addition there to the Gold Coast Suns, slotting in well. I tell you what, he's certainly putting a good performance in that opening term. He's had 9 disposals, 3 kicks, 6 handballs. He's had a couple of marks also, doing quite well. Johnny Noble, he's been busy down back there, running through the midfield, also slotting the goal there with 9 disposals. 5 and 4 he's had. Sam Closey, 9 also. Best for the Cats. Tannenborough, 9 disposals, 8 kicks, a handball, and a couple of marks for him. Maxi Holmes on 8, Jack Martin on 7. We'll just roll down the board a little bit. Cheku House as Dan Rioli, he's got 6. I was just looking for the superstar for the Gold Coast Suns. I can't see his name. Not sure where he's got to. Help me out, Eddie. Who's the star midfielder there for the Gold Coast Suns? I'm just trying to remember now. My gosh, it's been months. It's been months. Tommy Stewart there and Connor O'Sullivan both on 5 disposals there for the Cats. Oliver Dempsey on 5. Bailey Smith Well, not real impact on that opening quarter. He just had the 4 touches with 3 kicks and a handball there for the blonde locks of Bailey Smith. Ben Long, Joel Jeffrey 5 apiece for the Gold Coast Suns there. McAndrew, not too bad there, doing his defensive work there. He's had 4 touches, 1 kick, 3 handballs as per usual, and they are your stats so far. I can't see the other star midfielder for the Suns. Maybe he was not an inclusion. I definitely see his name. There we go. Who's the Brownlow medalist last year, Adrian? Who was the Brownlow medalist? My gosh, I can't think of his name now. Anyway, we're going to get back down to the ground in a minute. Just a quick look at the team stats. It's 113.97 disposal. It's plus 16 there to the Cats. 18 to 14 inside 50s, doing fantastic. 8 scoring shots for 18 inside 50s. 4 scoring shots for 14 for the Cats. All right, hey, that's enough of me jibber-jabbering. Let's get back down to the action for the second quarter here at People's First Stadium. Or it's the Gold Coast Suns by around 29 points.
So 40 through the middle.
If you're a skeptic on trial form, as that quarter has given you every reason to ignore all of what happens in the lead up to the real stuff. They look scratchy as against St Kilda and were really overwhelmed by the Lions, but that has been a sharp start from Gold Coast. 29-point leaders. Cats with it all to do entering the second term. Blitzav's decided to rove, which wasn't a bad strategy. Atkins and Holmes can get out the front. Oh, no, he can't now. Petrarca had other ideas, and Anderson sends the Suns the other way. Powell onto the fingertips of Humphrey.
O'Sullivan's gone to Humphrey. Humphrey still was able to lead up on him.
He's going to drag it up to the teeth of goal. He's overkicked Farah. He's overkicked the locks. It might have been better just to have a shot.
Well, it's gone for 58, 59 metres, the kick. See, Max Holmes will like his time again. He was clear. He just had to keep running. He tried to step back onto the right boot and ran himself into all sorts of trouble in the middle.
Henry targets Blitzars, but Witch was ready for him. Takes a fine mark, the veteran ruck. He wants to still be going when the Suns are right up there in September. And who knows how quickly that might occur. Leaks out the back to Coney. Just to pick it up and do something with it. There's danger everywhere.
In danger?
Yeah. Speaking of danger.
I didn't know if the hand was close enough to the footy, Hutto, for that one to be paid.
An interesting call, wasn't it? Because Henry would have seen the hand when he probably made the decision to kick.
And it was a late whistle too.
Very late whistle.
Let's have a look. Well, it's there, I guess. Got to protect the player. Try and pick the ball up.
I've seen that. It's got to be really dangerous, doesn't it?
Good way to get himself into the game again early in the second term here. Narrance did a couple of good things in the first quarter, but quiet.
12, 13 and 14 goals in his past 3 years. Just 12 last season, but some of them were memorable, weren't they, out of the middle? And that one we'll forget quickly.
30-point leaders.
You'd be disappointed with the miss. The one thing you want to do when you're playing against the Cats is take your opportunities. Don't let them back into it.
Collins cut the angles and the Suns are coming straight back. Zeke with the kick inside. Holmes read it well.
His first mistake, Zeke Euland. I've loved the look of him in his first game.
Still provides a bit of mobility. Let's work some angles for themselves.
Got to get through, Jared. They've got to get through this forward half press that the Suns have got on.
Stewart is controlling to and fro. O'Sullivan, good grab. And on the inside, they had numbers in Holmes and Smith, who's ready to release. And he pops it around the 50. Myers hunts the footy. What'll he do when he arrives? Looks back over his shoulder. He can fashion a kick from anywhere. He sets it for Nevitt to have a jump at, but he had plenty to cover him in the air.
This is a much different Geelong forward line to the one that we've been used to over the journey. It's Nevitt and Martin playing deep. It's Henry's back in the side.
It's asking a bit of Mitch Nevitt, isn't it?
It is.
A lead-up forward when he's really been a wing or genuine on-baller. Collins, big physical presence. Cats have some numbers around it. Manor, he's just trying for the miracle. Hewlin brothers, give it back. Statting up.
Demanding it, big brother.
Yeah, if you want to know what the joy of playing footy is, you can ask the Hewlin brothers up there together. Great to see. Graham breaks clear. Another local. And the locals are loving their SUNS footy at the moment. Humphrey comes out and takes the mark. What an impact he's had.
He's got a confidence from Will Graham too. You don't see many people turn and have a bounce in front of Max Holmes.
No, and he closed him, and he was still good enough to hit him up with a hand in his back. And as I said, O'Sullivan rolls on to Humphrey, which is a big call, isn't it? He had Stewart in the first quarter, and you just got to keep hitting up at the ball, and you get hit like that.
His eyes are still darting as he convinced himself. We know he's got the power. Had a long look at it just to tease the fans, but it misses to the right.
He didn't need to arc way out to the right.
Well, he made the angle much harder for him.
Correct, and he's got such great distance in his kick anyway. It was only a 50-metre kick. He covers that easily.
He's taken 3 beautiful uncontested marks in the forward 50.
Yeah, he's explosive on the lead, isn't he?
Stewart took a long time to decide. Lombard put himself in front of Bailey Smith, who then stuck the tackle. Anderson on the tidy up, works it around to Violi. It's tipped away by Henry. Smith has another go. Petrarca kept it alive, and Anderson has a fling out across the face and all the way.
I've been unlucky not to get a free kick for dropping the ball there. The Cats.
Bailey Smith.
Lombard was a good one.
He's doing all the attacking.
You look down the line, you've got Powell setting up on his own. Noble now comes across to take a man, but gee, they're well set up.
It's gone to the front. Humphrey has been central to everything. He should trust himself to have a look deep. Sort of all let it land, really. Guthrie and Atkins trying to find the way out for the Cats. The sustained pressure almost suffocating, and Collins is going to pump it straight back.
Yeah, he's all over Neil at the moment, maybe getting a little too adventurous though. They skate through the middle, and that was high from Holmes.
He did well. Did well to put his body over the ball. That was very, very good from Oscar Adams, yeah.
Big weekend for Oscars. Kicks into the pocket. Dead towards Witts. And O'Sullivan.
Yeah, well, I think the story of the game is just how difficult it is, and this is what you're talking about. Your head in the hole when it's your turn to go, that wins you respect straight up. It's just how difficult it is for Geelong to exit their back half.
Mid-season pick Oscar Adams, Charlie Ballard playing VFL, so he's not far away from returning. I want to put his best foot forward tonight. So far he has. As have pretty much all the Suns so far. Cats finding it so difficult to get out of defence. McAndrew was ready. Goal umpire is covering a lot of territory at the moment.
Even that kick from Tommy Atkins, that is just under pressure kick.
You can see it in their eyes though, guys, can't you?
You can. You get it out of my area and it just comes straight back. So maybe it's time. I've seen this so many times. I've got a score review here, but it's
Not sure if it's out before sneaking in for a behind.
Well, we check for that. Maybe it's Holmes behind the footy with some run and carry out of that back half. We know he can do it. We know he can turn a game. They just have got no real measure of getting the footy out.
I wonder what international viewers who sort of laugh at the fact that you get a point for missing in the first place think that we're taking a minute to decide whether that's out on the full or not.
Well, let's just make a decision.
We welcome wherever you're watching our great game around the globe. Wayno?
We'll get better technology one day, but just not today. Competition in the paper. Where is the ball in relation to the post?
Where's Wally?
Review complete. Looking at these angles, we can see the ball crosses on the outside of the behind post. Decision on scoreboard.
So would have been a behind, will be no score. Suns are peppering. They got full toll in the opening term of 7-1, but didn't quite find the target despite the field domination that they have. Stewart's got Jack Henry running into space. It is going to take some run from the Cats to find the way through. Manna.
That's why we contemplate this. Last year they were the #1 team for moving the footy and #1 for scoring every time they go inside 50. Both of those measurements are way, way down right now.
Still long down the line. Weller gives the Suns a fresh hope. Good work by Lombard to give Anderson the chance to find the spare target. And Petrarca will kick his second. Playing with a vengeance. with the decorated CV that he's got, there's still something to prove in a new jumper.
There is a real...
The Harvey Norman replay here, Jace, of one of the smooth and powerful movers.
Derek, there's a real freedom about the way they're going about this. Once they get the ball, they just take it on. And they're happy to hand pass to players who'll wear the pressure. They'll find a way to get the ball out. Another unorthodox kick from Anderson, but he gets it to where it has to go. And then they keep the ball moving. It's Petrarca that gets on the end of it. His confidence is flying because he's doing plenty of it. Getting the ball, he's kicking goals. Everything coming up trumps for the Suns.
Yeah, and when you're in this situation and you're not winning a 50-50 footy, Tanner Bruin's playing 15 metres off Noah Anderson, and I'd have to have another look at it, but it looked like O'Connor was playing 15 metres off Petrarca. And Anderson and Petrarca get the footy in space, you're going to pay a real big price.
Back in motion again, out of the middle. Davies is a strong body, but even he couldn't withstand that. Warple wins the free, off to Bruin. Just goes for length rather than precision. Nevitt and Henry, there's bodies entwined and hitting and spread eagling all over the turf. And you can see down there the Cats forwards not that impressed with the delivery.
I'm not sure that's the way, given the way this game's been played and how dominant Collins has been. I'm not sure banging it 55 metres high up in the air is going to be the answer. You got McAndrew down there as well.
And they're frustrated because not only are the Suns working really well with the ball, it's what they're doing off the ball without it is the best thing.
Newland has given it back to the Cats.
So we've got to look for some, maybe change of direction. There's been nothing coming back through the middle of the ground.
Moments have been hard won, plenty given up as the Cats search for the way. Humphreys, perpetual motion. Out to Guthrie, 2-1 against. Rioli with the spoil. Lombard hunts the footy. What's that touched on the way out? It's the leg. So Geelong try again from half-back. No method to get through, no dynamism. Bailey Smith might have something to say about that. Tuck it under the arm, run your measure. Give them a look. Manor right in the middle of this pack. It cleared him and landed in the lap of Nevitz.
That was unusual.
It's probably the first time, though, you've had some run out of that back half. And you go take some space in front of you, and then you're kicking to a part of your forward line that they don't expect to be able to have to defend. So that's gone over the top of Manor and one other and fallen into the lap of Nevitt.
21 games in 4 years. Played at the start of last season. An injury knocked him out and took him all year to get a fresh look. Cats need him desperately. Mitch Nevitz, boot is true. Good for the individual, good for the collective. But 5 goals the wrong side of it.
Yeah, young player that's just starting to get more and more experience and gets the opportunity to spend a lot of time forward. Now, maybe more by luck than design, but you're right, Gaz. For the first time, Bailey Smith gets on the end, he goes and he wheels. And he actually, endeavouring to play on, he turns himself onto the left boot and says, well, I just got to drive it long. But at least he got it in there quick. A couple of the Suns players not quite settled on their opponents. Hewlin tried to come over the top. He couldn't get any fist on it and never read it the best.
That's exactly the thought about maybe Holmes to half-back. Do exactly that, is to get the ball in his hand and just give him a licence to go and run, because predictable, long and slow into the forward line without Dangerfield and without Cameron isn't working at all.
Suns have kicked 7 of the previous 8 goals. So fair to say that was desperately needed for Geelong. Warple laying another tackle in the middle. 4 tonight from him so far, along with his 7 disposals. The ex-Hawk best and fairest. Blitzarves, he claimed the footy, and then they collectively claimed him. And Rioli emerges with the footy. Suns have some options at centre half forward. He sets his sights longer than that. Farah got to run at it, but there was 3 Cats to deal with it in the air. O'Sullivan knew not to take possession. Bruin, the issues, got big on him quick. The late whistle now replayed on and had a shot and missed, but gee, felt like the whistle came late there.
202 centimetres allowed to take advantage, Jason.
Big decision, isn't it? Big decision.
I think it should be a blanket rule, Gary.
Pretty much.
Holmes gets the Cats moving. Guthrie, quick give to Humphreys. He works it on to Mullen. The overlap to Myers. Confronted by Anderson. Humphreys had to keep coming. The Cats just ran out of space.
Just feels like
That was a
every
great
possession is close to turn over at the moment for the Cats.
The other thing they've got the Suns is really good leg speed.
Great example of the athleticism of Ethan Reid. He took off out of that centre bounce and put 30 metres on Blixarves.
Problem solving to be done for the coaching dream team. Warple off the ground, takes some yards. Bodie Uland waited underneath. Now it's the ground ball that has to be won. Martin left his man, tapped the boots of Manor, who would have liked to have been able to pick it up. Closey and Collins and Nobles sweated on. No problem.
That's probably the first mistake coming out of their back line they've made. Long had made a fantastic lead.
Sam Collins didn't see him.
Out on the wing on his own, and the big 150 gamer just couldn't quite see him.
Up it goes. Now, Reed's come late here. There's a free kick plucked out. A ruck interference.
They're closely just running through.
Yeah.
He put the arms up to say, I'm not doing anything, and all he did was interfere with everybody as he put the arms up.
All he did was draw attention to himself.
Just made sure everybody knew. Shannon Neal, 4 goals in the Hawthorn practice match.
He ran right across in front of the ruck.
44 majors last year, including 2 hauls at 5. Still developing as a young forward. The Cats need a lot from him tonight, and that kick won't even scrape in for a score. We don't even need a review to say that was out on the full.
Noble uses Collins and McAndrew. Suns are trying to build out of half-back. Jeffrey found Weller, pumps it long. Farah and Stewart inches it away.
Maybe we're trying hard for the Cats here, but the last 3-4 minutes it has looked like they've tried to change it up a little bit. Maybe run a bit further, hands a bit more than kick.
But if Neil kicks that goal, they're only 4 goals down.
That's right.
I mean, they're in the contest.
Reid and de Koning go to work. It's away from them and sat for the Suns to be able to do something about. King comes up to full forward. No mark Farah. King does the business on the ground. King's got his second. And the answer from the Suns to push the Cats away.
And that's the big testing point for the Cats at the moment, is that every time the ball goes forward for the Suns, they look like they're going to score. They have the ability to keep the ball alive. They're not allowing intercept marks. When the ball goes to ground, they've got numbers. On this occasion, it's the big man that gets down.
See how easy though. Like he just walks into the back of a boundary throwing stoppage, and he walks in to the back of the pack and picks the ball up with not a Geelong player within 10 metres. So it's falling down around stoppage as well. The goal that we saw earlier, Anderson was standing out on his own 15 metres clear, and Petrarca was on his own 15 metres clear.
Club record 71 goals last year, Ben King. Ritz gets them started. Fighting back to Cody. O'Connor and Atkins. A lot of shape on the kick. Did the best he could. Ulan led with the fist. Holly Henry, can he get into the game? That's a start, a tumbler. Martin tried to connect with Manor. Instead it was Powell. The hands are chained up so impressively. Cody Uland over the top. Had the luxury of a bit of time and space for Weller. Chances his arm at half forward with Long. Over the top went Henry. Clark allowed to claim the footy, but Collins just about immovable and impassable off half-back at the moment. Off to Jeffrey, upgraded the number to 16. Sign of his progress as a Sun.
They've taken some risks too, the last couple of kicks from a Gold Coast Sun point of view.
Kick from Weller was extraordinary in there.
Geelong at their best punish that, Jace.
Yeah.
Go the distance and punish them. They're just not there tonight.
It's all over the top of de Koning with the tap. Warple, Adams to McAndrew. Trying to break tackles. We've seen a bit of that tonight. Atkins doesn't get his team any closer to goal. Just sets a chase. Uland ran around it because he wanted to deliver it forward. Cats were ready and claimed Anderson, and here's Zeke Uland again. Force fed it back to Adams. Strong enough. Zeke with a pretty clever kick. It got up and got big on Anderson. Smith, tough for Lombard. Speaking of tough, Atkins came through. Fed it back to Manor. It's all scrappy. It is slippery. It's downfield as Manor was dealt with viciously.
Opportunity if he moves it quick with a little bit of space in the forward 50.
And that was the space, but the kick just climbed too high for Nevitt. had Dempsey as a long option, but there was nothing wrong with the choice. It was just the kick. And the Suns put it together for now. That's a great effort. Exactly the time to fall off his opponent, Dick Guthrie. And plays it back to De Koning. And the Cats look to try again. De Koning on ball at the moment. Goes to Atkins.
Just controlling it a little bit more, having the ball a bit more in their hands. They just got to finish the play again.
Smith didn't haul it in. Davies kept it away. Lombard first access. Put it to Davies, who was hot. Kept it going to Noble. Lombard, they ran the gauntlet. O'Connor charted free and wins it for the Cats. Holmes trying to find the way. The overlap run comes from O'Sullivan. They set a task for Humphreys, who was there to meet it. And out comes Dempsey.
Well, again, they're winning it back in a better position than they have for the first quarter and a half, and that's really across their own half-back line or even across the centre. But they've been a bit untidy, haven't been able to make the Gold Coast Suns pay the ultimate price. But this is the first time they've gone the length, and Ollie Dempsey gets a chance to just close the gap a little bit.
You feel like if they can kick a couple of goals, they'll give themselves every chance of running over the top of the Suns.
Career best 4 in that grand final. 37 points down. A little bit of mastery from Ollie Dempsey. He softened it to try to curl it in. No success.
And this kind of sums it up. They've kicked a solitary point from their defensive half for the game. And that is not... This has been the elite ball-moving team in the competition we're talking about. Credit to the Gold Coast Suns.
Scoring second quarter, 2 goals 3 to 1 goal 2. Suns favourite. Geelong stabs it wide. Finds his brother. I wonder how many times that's going to happen this year. And he looks right at home on a Friday night on your screens. Bangs it up along the wing. Reed came out full of intent. Petrarca had Mullen for company. Lombard tries to brush him off with some success. The kick, well, not quite. Centimetre perfect.
A little bit of arrogance from the boy, the young boy. Let's see if they can get some transition going here, the Cats.
It's just long down the line. Went from Newland, he couldn't quite complete the mark. Gets in and under though. Noble, Zeke Newlands steps back through. Gives the forwards a look. Now Long's coming from a long way back. Farragut bowled over. Petrarca's hunting. Henry just did enough. De Koning, Mullen. Tackle. Noble with an assist from Petrarca.
Gold Coast, Jared.
6 goals the difference, 6 minutes to go in this second term. It's more than 1,000 hit-outs last year. Soft down to Petrarca, bursting through the front. Didn't quite have the kick to match. Another stoppage. You would be smiling. We've made a start like this in new colours. I wonder if he felt any nerves coming here tonight. 11 years a Demon. Fresh start for the final phase of his career. Long tried to create something, got shut down. Stewart's got to get it off the last line. Atkins in a spotted bother. What a good call. Able to bring the Cats away. Dempsey couldn't hang on. McAndrew forging back the other way. Davies over the top to Farah. Maybe one too many. Bruin gets to work. Nothing is smooth though. Straight up to Took. And Miller pops it through. The overwhelming pressure of the Suns. Telling out of the jittery Cats. Game high 42-point lead.
Well, it looked like we were going to get something special from McAndrew. He wanted the give and go. He wanted the hand pass back, but the hand pass went to a teammate of his.
He's still shaking his head saying, why didn't they give it to me? A goal of the year. They're ready to go.
But again, they create the turnover as the Cats try to bring the ball out of defence. They're under pressure. It comes back in, and that's just a hit to space.
But that is symptomatic of what they've served up. Here is where he thought he was going to get it, and he went over his head. But this, whether they're being spooked out of it by the pressure that the Gold Coast Suns have been able to do, but that handball is not what you'd expect from this Geelong side. And I think you just got to concede that this is a much, much different Geelong side to the one who finished the season playing off in a grand final.
Still over 5 minutes remaining in this second term. Petrarca right around the footy. Bruin came skating through. And that big tackle was laid on Petrarca to turn it the Cats' way. Bruin by hands. Manor realised he was going to be tackled. Lays it off well to Ollie Henry. Can't force his way through. Myers reached up for it. Taken it. But taken legally, the umpire said. Tried to soccer it and settle it, but he couldn't. Hewlin scrapping hard. Running hard, the Suns. Doing so many things right. Didn't give Powell much of a chance. Socket everywhere, and it was force-fed right down the throat of Ollie Henry, who simply must.
This kind of sums it up a bit, doesn't it? So they haven't had any structure at all going forward. They've been dominated by Collins and the like. So just hack one off the ground and hope, and there's
just a little bit expansive from the Suns coming out of defence.
Ollie Henry, rather, just standing there. Yeah, they handled a player that had a Geelong player right on him, and they turned the footy over.
Started with 3 goals in round 1 last year, but lost his spot after round 12. And it's just 3 more games. 4th year as a Cat. Really is a big season for Ollie Henry, and he needs to bring his goal kicking, which he does here, and delivers the Cats a desperately needed 6-pointer to stay in the contest.
It's a good summation from Hutto Gaz. You look at someone like Ollie Henry that left Collingwood to get down there, play with his brother, and he's shown lots of dash and flair at times, but hasn't been able to nail down the spot and make it his own and be that consistent contributor yet.
Well, he's never going to have a better opportunity than tonight to put his flag in the ground, given who's not out there, and it's just been hard work. Mind you, this forward line, which is a bit makeshift, hasn't been given any service at all, because there hasn't been that free-flowing ball coming out of their back half. They just haven't been able to transition at all. So that will be high on the agenda when they go in at half-time.
Back to 36 points. Square set up. Warple got to work. And it's a Cats free kick, so the advantage taken. Toss it in high so you can get after it. Martin came plunging out the front. Jeffrey tidies up for the Suns underneath. Noble has the link up with Weller should he choose. He opts not to initially.
There's another example of just Geelong bombing away to where the Suns are set up behind the ball.
Witts and Reid both in this pack. Reid read the drop zone pretty well. Witts ends up feeding it to him. Weller's still on the go, Spider. Not to be off the boot now.
Yeah, it's a little bit sloppy. He got his hands to it, should have taken the mark, and then endeavouring to get possession, a fumble, run into it with your leg and you give away the kick. He's trying really hard. He just needs to concentrate on that footy.
Warriors couldn't make it up on the fly, so had to give ground to Jack Henry.
We had no options, and I think they've got to get off the line here and break up this defence.
That had to be precise. Bailey Spear there to a dead end. Reid floored him. Suns have got numbers around it. They hold it up at least.
To his credit, though, Ethan Reid there, he didn't go through with the bump. He just stood there. He stood there and allowed Smith to run into him without really poleaxing him. I thought he did it well.
Bailey Smith arguing hard with the umpire. He should have got a free kick.
Would have been a lot worse.
Well, got the free kick for holding the ball to the teeth of goal. Long had a fly. De Koning kept it away from him. Reid tried to make something happen. Miller got through the front. Farah had it picked off. Holmes on the very last line. Oh, how the umpire see that. Throw in.
He convinced him. He convinced him.
Again, though, one of those panic disposals, deep in defence. I'm convinced he's got to start half back after half-time. Just to try and move this footy.
Still got a hotline to Bucks. Yes.
Maybe to Scotty too after the
Bucks went
State of Origin. O'Connor, Petrarca, Anderson. It's trying. Crowd riding it all the way to the post. So 3 goals for to 2-2. It's been a bit of a mess of a second term. And the Suns' authority on the game has only grown overall.
Sullivan and Humphreys combine. It's back on the inside to Bruin. Looking to cut the lines and open things up. Ollie Henry was a good option for him. Hewlin just did enough to run interference without giving away the free kick.
Oh, I think it's come off the back heel of Ollie Henry, though. That's really unlucky.
When he set of brothers to play for the Suns before this with Gary and Nathan Ablett. He's in his 50th game. Jack Henry had that covered all the way.
They played together for the Cats as well, for the premiership. Out wide to half forward. Myers guides to Nevitt. There is an opportunity. There's no real obvious target deep. So he has to go for Ollie Henry and Neil. And Ollie Henry, oh, he couldn't have had a much better chance to take it. Now they scrap afterwards. Neil, brilliant tackle. Had no hands clear. The umpire let them keep playing, and O'Connor might have snapped. Way behind.
See, that's one gone begging for Ollie Henry. He had to stand tall and mark that one. That's where you've just got to say, if I cop one, I cop one, but this is my mark to take until proven otherwise.
Sam Collins. Ollie on the link up. There's the target down the line. Witts arrives. Cats have numbers at the drop. Bruin to Coning. Bruin. Myers. Take off. We'll give it to Bailey Smith. Checks the kick for close. It's too wide. Just right on the pace. It's the one, Jace.
Yep, just got to keep your eye on the footy. If you cop one in the back of the head, you cop it. Not much you can do about it.
It's a Neil go to work. He worked his way to the front. O'Connor tried to keep it going. It slewed the wrong way off the fists. Fossicking away as Martin. He threw it. Umpire was in a good position to see it.
Yeah, and with just under a minute left, it won't hurt the Suns. You can see Daniel Rioli just wants a bit of tempo now. They just want to slow it down. Understand what time's on the clock, the situation of the game. You don't want to concede a late goal and give Geelong a bit of momentum going into the half-time break.
6-goal lead to the Suns. You wouldn't know it by the look of Damien Hardwick. Kick up along the wing. Jack Henry decided not to fly over the top. He has a little tumble turn with the footy underneath there somewhere.
Thanks, boys. Stand up. Thank you.
Good start for the Gold Coast Suns. 10 goals in this first half. Breezy night. The forecast rain over the past couple of days hasn't come. Power to half forward. Long is in position. And he has time. Miller already has a goal. He's put that over the top of King. The backup is there from De Koning. And now O'Sullivan makes a critical error. Powell just pops it over for Reid. That's an outstanding spoil from Mullet, who was undersized. Long's got to snap away and kick the goal anyway. And you can see what it means to the Suns. And the Sun went down tonight on the coast, but this Gold Coast side have risen to 42-point leaders on the cusp of half-time.
Well, we just spoke about not conceding a late goal to Geelong. This is an absolute disaster for the Cats. A poor kick coming out of defence. Then they get the ball to ground. They get possession again. And he was just besieged by 3 tacklers. Connor O'Sullivan couldn't do anything, and Ben Long, he hasn't had a great night tonight, but he's always competing. He's always working hard to make something happen. And that is a dagger with a couple of seconds left on the clock.
Coming off his best season. It'll be a 4-goal-to-2 second term. A 29-point lead grows to 42 at the main break. 11-5-71. It's a good half of footy from the Suns. 4-5-29, the Cats. And there's a many a tale to tell in that group, from captain to new recruits.
That man there, what a first half. Christian Petrarca has had 16 possessions and 2 goals and 5 score involvements, the #1 ranked player on the ground. That's what they recruited him for. We hadn't seen it for a while at the D's. Life wasn't great. He wasn't happy. But it's amazing with a fresh environment, a new pre-season under the belt, a little bit of fun happening with this group. They think they can do something special. And Christian Petrarca's playing his best footy. Of course, Tuke Miller does what Tuke Miller does each and every week, each and every season. They've just been great.
Cats have to respond. Lynchy, have you rounded one up down there?
You got Tom Atkins with me. Tom, where do you feel that you're lowering your colours at the moment?
Probably around the contest. I think they've probably been beating us to that ball, and then they've been stronger in the tackle. And then maybe we're just being a bit too cute with it when we get it back. We're probably trying to find in between layer kicks when we could either go long or kick short.
How do you feel you can turn that around?
I just think we've got to stay positive. We've got to keep going after our game. We want to have a crack and try and beat them our way. So, yeah, stick to what we know best.
Thanks for your time, mate.
Thank you, Lynchy. Tom Atkins. Well, the Cats have got a lot to think about at half-time. The Gold Coast Suns fans couldn't be happier. Our star analysts will tell you what they can do, Geelong, to get back in the game, or is this the start of a special year ahead for the Gold Coast Suns?
You're watching Friday Night Footy on Fox. Brought to you by Industry Super Funds.
All right, folks, there we go. It's half time. We'll be back with the analysts in just a moment. Just on a quick break there, but there we go. It's half time here at People's First Stadium. The Suns doing a good job, 11-5, 71. The Cats, 4-5, 29. 42 points is the margin here at half time. Of course, the Suns putting on 4 goals, 4 in that second term. The Cats just a 2 goals, 3. There was a little bit of an arm wrestle in that second term, but of course the Suns, well, they flexed their muscles and came on top, and certainly getting that last goal, which the Cats were trying to hold off just seconds before that, the halftime siren, which won't do them any good. But of course, Petrarca having a ring-a-ding-ding game out there today. As I said, he's the highest ranked player out there. That's what they recruited him for, and they've still got players to come back in. They're looking dangerous. They're looking mighty, mighty good this year, the Suns. Can it be their season this year? I'll tell you what, we're only into round 1, but it's looking so far so good for the Gold Coast Suns. Let's have a little bit of a tickle over there to the disposal getters and the goals before we wait for the commentators to come back and give us their analysis on the opening half. Of course, Bailey Humphries leads the way on the goal kicking table there. He's kicked 3 goals, 1 for the Gold Coast Suns. Christian Petrarca, he's kicked 2. Ben King also with 2. They're the only multiple goal scorers out there on the ground this evening. Johnny Noble, Tuke Miller with that late goal. Ben Long and Lombard, all singles there for the Gold Coast Suns. Crossing over to Geelong now, looking at their goal scorers. And of course, all coming singles for them. Sean Manor, Mitch McKevitt, Oliver Henry, Jai Clark. There we go. Just the 4 goal scorers there for the Geelong Cats. Disposal getters, of course, out there. Strangely enough, it's the Geelong player leading the way on the table for the disposal count. Tanner Braun, he's on 18 disposals so far. There we go. He's had 14 kicks, 4 handballs, 2 marks, a tackle, a clearance, and just the 1 behind. So he's a bit of a shining light there for the Geelong Cats. Leading the way and next on the table is, of course, for the Gold Coast Suns, Christian Petrarca. 16 disposals. What a ring-a-ding-ding first half he's played in the Gold Coast Suns jumper. Just fantastic. Mostly handballs. He's had 5 kicks. He's had 11 handballs, a couple of marks, putting some pressure on, and 2 clearances, 2 goals. So he's having a great game, as is Johnny Noble. 16 disposals, working hard this evening. 9 kicks, 7 handballs, 3 marks, a tackle. He slotted that goal also. Tuke Miller, as I said, he just does what Tuke does, and he does it well. Time and time after again. 14 disposals for him. 7 and 7. 2 clearances, goal there. Next best, Graham Myers. Atkins on 14. I'll just roll down this. We'll head back down to the commentators. They'll give us a little bit of an analysis on the opening half.
Fox, brought to you by Industry Super Funds. The Gold Coast Suns got the big Friday night slot, and they have not let their fans down. They lead by 42 points at halftime. Jonathan Brown, Tom Hawkins and Geordie Lewis to unpack what's been a very, very impressive half of football by the Suns, and just as disappointing by the Cats.
Yeah, absolutely. Going into the game, Damien Harwood spoke to us about Petrarca, Humphrey, that combination, and Christian Petrarca, new recruit. It was unbelievable that front half, wasn't he? First half was sensational.
He was so clean, and just his willingness to go forward, which is not what Geelong are doing as well. It was a very un-Geelong-like first half from my point of view.
I would imagine you haven't seen the Cats in that frame of mind for a long period of time.
Oh, I haven't, but also credit where fair credit. I thought the Suns have been outstanding behind the ball. So Sam Collins has led that 5 intercept turnovers. So he's been brilliant and well supported by his other defenders.
I think the thing for me, from a Gold Coast point of view, and that last goal signifies the toughness. They just want it more effectively, and that long goal probably rounded off what was a really good half, a really impressive half. But I've really been impressed by their toughness, the Gold Coast Suns.
Yeah, and in all three parts of the ground, their midfield's been outstanding. Defence you've spoken about, and then we'll give him the forward line in a moment. When you give up 3 first-round picks and you invest heavily in a player, you can't dream that Christian Petrarca can come out and have a half of footy like it is. It's the 7th best half of footy by a Gold Coast Sun in the last 10 years, if you don't mind.
He's been outstanding, and sometimes this is what it does. I mean, we know his quality, we know he's a multiple All-Australian, best and fairest winner, Norm Smith medalist, but sometimes a new, refreshing environment is not only good for the people who are already there, but for the player himself. He has looked at his All-Australian best. I think you said pre-game, Gaz, you wouldn't be surprised if he got All-Australian honours this year. Well, he started the game out on fire. So he's been everywhere. Mixed between him and Humphrey forward and mid has been a good combination.
He looks strong, Gaz, doesn't he? He's moving well. He looks at his absolute physical prime.
100%. And that's the thing about it. He looks like he himself said mentally he's in the best race he's been in for a long time. But physically he's a specimen and has been for a long period of time. And again, he reminds us how good he is.
Yeah, and the way that they're playing, so turning the ball over in their front half absolutely suits this guy to absolutely dominate, which he has.
And well, I mean, it's early on in the piece, but Damien Hardwick in a half a footy has used the bits on his chessboard beautifully. He had him playing 78% forward in the first quarter. He spent 82% in the midfield in the second quarter. So that's a difficult one for an opposition to try and get a beat on him. And he worked in concert with Bailey Humphrey, who lit the joint up in the first quarter.
Master and the apprentice, Gaz, isn't it? So Bailey Humphrey, at the end of his career, would hope to reach the heights of Christian Petrarca. Very similar players. Damien Hardwick would be wrapped. They come in half-time, so they've got 5 goals between those two boys. That's a big tick into the tape. He was outstanding, 3 in the first quarter. Led the ball well, tough as well, and took his opportunities.
Yeah, and Petrarca's been so effective. At the midfield time, you can't help but wonder, have Gold Coast smelt blood? Getting right on top of Geelong and just playing your trump card in the middle where he's winning, extracting the ball, getting it forward to this guy, and he's doing the rest.
What I liked about there, Gaz, he led at the kicker a few times, which at times we've been critical about Gold Coast. They lead back too much. Got to come back at the kicker, makes it easy, so that was good.
So, and this is the other telling thing. I mean, when you get everyone on song like that, it's great. There can be a tendency to say, let's try and fill our boots. But their defensive work in their forward half, in the end, spooked this Geelong defence, which has been so good for so long. Have a look at these numbers. It's their best ever opening half. It's forward half intercept. So ball goes in and it doesn't come out till you score. And we saw Geelong-like actions. Handball to the boundary line. Handball directly to a Gold Coast Sun player who then kicks a goal. I mean, they did their hard work and they cashed in.
I think that's the story of the first half for me, and we'll see all the highlights and the goal kickers and the ball use going forward, but it's the way that they've set up defensively, which is exactly what you're saying. Disallowed Geelong to move the ball, and it's forced them to make mistakes, but it's also given them really offensive threats which have been able to penalise this Geelong side.
And their ball movement, and we spoke about it pre-game, and you put it on the agenda that they have been a kick-long footy club. Have you noticed anything that's been a bit different?
So we saw it early on, and I'll show a couple of clips early on, which Geelong were able to transition on the back of this. So this was clearly first quarter going to the left of screen. Right there, Noah Anderson pops back up. That kick didn't get taken, and then Geelong were able to zone off. You see there, O'Sullivan. So right now you're playing off a long field. So that was the first quarter. I've got no doubt halfway through the first quarter that it would have went out to say, hey, shorten, don't lengthen. See here, King lengthens. All Rioli wants is someone to hit back up. That's what we're talking about, Humphrey getting really good ball use forward of the ball, because he recognised the space and let back up and gave himself some kicking options. What changed about halfway through the first quarter? And some of these plays aren't pretty, but they kept the pitch short. So lowering the eyes, trying to find targets inside 450. So Lombard, good mark, realises he's got a lane towards goal, goes towards goal. This is another one. Centre forward. You see how big the ground is. Lombard
could have kept going, but no, Humphries just leads up. So these look like easy plays, but this hasn't been typical of a Gold Coast side, which meant they've been dangerous going centre forward.
No, it's a fantastic vision, and you can see, and Tom Stewart was on the end of it, but it doesn't matter. It can be David Dench and Tom Stewart rolled into one. You're not David Dench.
No.
Pass and a pass.
Full-back of the century, wasn't he?
What is it about this cat seat? And I guess, Tom, from your point of view, I know Chris would be very calm in going about this. I've been throwing up some run from half-back, and I always think of Holmes at half-back. But when we look at the struggles of this side, your old side, what is it that surprised you the most from that first half?
Oh, I touched on it early, but it's been un-Geelong-like right across the board. So their ability to be able to connect, which they haven't done very well. They've played on when they shouldn't have, when they should be looking for marks. And here's a great example of it. You just invite that pressure, that defensive stability that Gold Coast have got behind the ball. You allow the pressure to come on. Even here, just to be able to break through the contest, they go to effectively what's one-on-one contest ahead of the ball and just getting back to ground level. We don't often see a Geelong defence look this unorthodox.
They've battled at ground level, haven't they, Tom?
Yeah.
The balls hit the ground, they've looked really ordinary.
Yeah, and Gold Coast have looked incredibly clean, so it's probably showing up Geelong's weakness in not being able to handle the footy as well.
42 points behind. The scoreless sprints. I think this is the best inside 50 team in the comp last year. They're down 35%. They haven't been able to move the footy. They were the best ball movement team last year.
It goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
It does.
So you can't move the ball. You go inside a really congested floor line, which means the scores per inside 50 drop. I know 16 opportunities to rebound the ball from defensive 50 to inside 50. They got one.
Yeah. So does Max? I've got to throw up Max Holmes. You throw him to half back and say run. Let's give him the ball and run. And there was once that Bailey Smith turned the ball. He turned around his opponent and took ground, and for the first time they took a mark.
Seems to be three players, those two you mentioned, and Tanner Brewer. So he went for a run there late off half-back. So can those three boys start to get involved in that sort of half-back transition game?
Because at the moment there's no room forward of the ball to find any space. So you've got to have that room from behind, expose and handle the mark a little bit, see whether you can generate some scores.
And we've talked about the mids and the forwards. Sam Collins in the back half has been unbelievable in his 150th game.
Yeah, he's been such a vital piece for them. We know he's a leader. He talked about that pre-game, but just his positioning, he's led Shannon Neal to the ball. He's not afraid to come forward and intercept, and then he's used it really well off the back of that, which is springboarded their entries.
Got to get to a break. Shannon Neal has got to find a way. He can go long periods of time where he can't impact the game, and that's one thing, and we've all been there. Yeah. But when your opposition player starts to get the ball in the manner that Collins is, you've got to find a way to that.
Do you like to see a question, Gaz?
Well, use him as a starting point. Yeah. I think that's the first point, and then just compete one-on-one.
That's what this man did. That's where you earn your bread. When your team's struggling up the field, you've got to stand up, be that beacon.
All right, let's take a break. 42 points of margin. Can they find something in the Cats? I'll tell you what, if you are a lover of Formula One racing, then you've got the right place here. Fox kicks off tomorrow morning, Saturday and Sunday.
All right, folks, there we go. We're just going to have a little bit of a sneak peek until we come back to the game. We're only 5.5 minutes away from the bounce of the ball for the second half, the third quarter. We got through some of the analysis from the commentators. We had a look at the stats, the players' stats. Now we're just going to have a little bit of a peekaboo at the team stats. I know we all like that. So let's go and have a look at some of the team stats. The disposal count for these two teams is only 16, the difference. It's 209, 193. The Suns' way. Looking at the kicks, there we go. Geelong had the better of the kicks, 105, 115. They're plus 10. But the Suns in the handball department, 104, 78. There we go. They're plus 26 in the handball. Inside 50s, 34, 26. 34 inside 50s for 16 scoring shots, nearly going at 50%. And of course, the Cats there going about 33%. 9 scoring shots for 26 inside 50. The disposal efficiency, the Suns doing a little bit better there. 73.2%, that's pretty good, being above the 70% at half time. 67 for the Cats. Looking at the efficiency inside 50, both teams not too far apart, 52 and 46 respectively. Suns a little bit the better there. The free kicks, though, all tied up 10 apiece. Umpires keeping the game reasonably fair with both teams tackling reasonably fair and pretty honest out there today. Looking at the hitouts there, Big Witsy, he's doing a job there. 25 to 11. They're plus 14 in the hitouts are the Gold Coast Suns. The Suns, well, they're in front on the clearances too, 18 to 17 by 1. But the Cats, well, they're doing a little bit of damage inside the centre clearance. That's 9 to 5, nearly doubling the Suns. They're plus 4 there, but around the ground there, 13 to 8, plus 5 is the Gold Coast Suns on the stoppage clearance. So we have a look at the contested possessions. A little bit harder at the ball. That is what they were talking about, the commentators in their analysis. The Gold Coast Suns just look like they want it more. They're going in a little bit harder there. 76.59, they're plus 17. Hardwick will be certainly happy with that. Uncontested, just plus 8. There we go. Turnovers, reasonably high there tonight for both teams. Look, it's a hot contest. Certainly warm weather up there, 40-43. Just looking at the marking departments, the Cats, they're always a good marking team. 49 marks to the Cats. The Gold Coast Suns 32, so they're plus 17. Marks inside 50, surprisingly. Both teams still seem to be struggling just a tad going inside their forward 50, trying to find that lead up, that hit up mark and getting that space. So both teams only on 5 apiece up there until half time. Contested marks, 4 to 5. The Cats by 1. Looking at the scoring there, but we go to the tackles there. It's a little bit low on the tackle count actually for both teams there. As I said, it's a bit of a free-flowing game. 31-25. The Gold Coast Suns, they're plus 6 in the tackles. That's pretty good. You want to keep the pressure on. Tackles inside 50, 8 to 3. Good job there by the Suns. And that's about it. Let me just take it back there. We'll take it back there, and that is the stats and the analysis up until half-time, folks. We'll be back in just a moment. We are under 2 minutes away before the bounce of the ball for the third quarter, and we'll be back with the commentators as soon as they come back.
Super fans, what are you looking for in this second half?
Thanks, Jared. As you know very well with the Geelong Footy Club, they move the ball quickly and they run through defences. What we're seeing in the first half, they're running at the well-set-up defence of the Gold Coast Suns. They must switch off half-back, get it out wide, use the likes of Holmes, Smith and Tanner Bruin. Get it off the line, move Sam Collins. This has been the big improvement from the Gold Coast Suns over the last 12 months. How well they set up behind the ball and the pressure on it. So the Geelong have got to get around them.
Thanks, Lynchy. What do you think, Jace?
It's strange to have seen the Cats have so little control of the football in transition tonight. Only on 1 or 2 occasions have they not been under intense pressure, where they've had to bomb the ball long or they've been forced into a turnover through a mistake because of that pressure. So at the moment, you've got the Gold Coast Suns scoring at nearly a conversion rate of 50% per inside 50s, and the Cats themselves are more 1 in 3, going at 33%. So the Suns look so much more dangerous every time they go forward, and the Cats look shaky in defence. That's just something we've never come to expect that from the Cats. So whether they can control the footy in this third term, get a little bit of a handle on the ball and play the game on their terms remains to be seen.
Interesting use of the 23rd player, and in contrast, Jai Clark for the Cats has only played 17 of a possible 64 minutes in the first half, whereas the lowest number of field time for the Suns is 36 minutes from Alex Davies. So Cats kind of using it as a quasi-sub, whereas the Suns just sharing the load. There's some of the big names that need to lift for the Cats. It'll take some doing. Noah Anderson and Bailey Smith shared the Coaches Award last year, and they're up and into it in the third term. The Suns 42-point leaders and looking to build. Long late goal was important. O'Connor to half forward. Rioli goes back with it, follows it, it gets through to Martin, and out the other side to Myers. Again, had to backpedal to wriggle clear and kick it down forward. Never not far off. Jeffrey won the day. Noble exactly knew where Hewland was. Slugs the kick up along the wing. That's just fine. To Long. Has the run from behind. Rioli ups his cruising speed. A couple of bounces make it 3 from Daniel Rioli. And forward to Reed from the 50. Lombard is trying to get over the top, but just fell short. Guthrie there.
You don't want Ethan Reed kicking in like that either.
There were so many better options.
Everywhere.
And he just chose the wrong one out of about 5.
Dakota under clubs. Took Miller has it. Forward half turnovers mount against the Cats. Anderson is prepared to take their time to set up their foray. And a bit of marking practice. Reed made good grounds. 1-2, couldn't finish it off. Jack Henry got stuck with the footy. Able to release in the nick of time. Humphreys had a taste for it from the outset. Ian Petrarca. Humphrey again. He's been blistering from the outset. And that's 4.
Well, if you want to have a look who we go straight to here.
It's those two working in tandem. Yes.
You want to wonder how they're going to work together? Well, if tonight's a snapshot of what this season's going to hold, then they'll be the most dangerous duo in footy. Poor to the ball anyway. They can both go through the middle and impact. But look at this. Petrarca, he goes to Petrarca first off here. He looks for him. Then Petrarca gets it back to him and says, all right, I couldn't do it. What about you? I'll do it. And he kicks his feet superb right from the word go. They haven't made any changes. I've had a good look at this line-up to see whether or not they're going to throw some magnets around. They've got exactly the same back 6. So they're backing in their players, which has been a hallmark of the way they coach. But they're 40, what are they now? 48 points down. And they're going to have to find something from somewhere.
Let's see if they can get it going out of the middle. Holmes does enough with the touch. Atkins, can they break through centre half forward? Not quite. Again, thorn in the side was Anderson to Witt. So the midfielders working back hard and the others are running hard forward. Petrarca to Humphrey again.
This is ridiculous.
It's Cracker brother-like. What a start to the season. Bailey Humphrey, he kicked 3 in the first quarter, and he's not playing on any mug either when he was doing that. And just have a look at this. He's slicking his lips. So his opponent here is a fair player as well, Jack Henry. But he's playing back shoulder. At some stage, you're going to have to take the front spot on him.
First quarter blitz with 3 goals. Added to that early in the quarter. Bailey Humphrey. Just moments into this third quarter. Could have had 5 goals.
He still likes to go way out to the right for those long kicks, and yet he's kicked that 15 metres past the goal.
Send the runner out, Jason.
He doesn't need to do it.
Myers. Guthrie on the follow-up. Delivered the kick out to him. O'Connor was a target again. The Cats come up short, bringing it out of defence.
Jared, twice they've kicked it out. Twice they've kicked it and turned it over at on the half-back flank.
Had Miller moving short, but decided to go longer into this big pack. Deconing over the top to spoil, and all the way to the boundary.
So that's when they're at their best. When you kick it long inside the forward 50, the Cats get numbers. They're very good at defending. But what the Suns have done thus far tonight is divide and conquer. Hit up the lead, separate them, make them accountable, and with good passes, you just find targets.
Curse both the ground and the team, turning its best face forward to Friday night footy. Wits cleverly out the back, and it gives Davies a chance to collaborate. Rioli got it from Miller, and Rioli has blundered his moments. It's a 50-point lead.
But again, it's slick hands from the stoppage, a runner coming from behind, and they create a great goal-scoring opportunity.
Cats had a tough start to the season. 5 finalists from last year out of their first 6 games. And it's a fine grab right on the line from Nevitt. Just snatched it.
Shannon Neal, big half coming up for Shannon. He's got to find a way to either impact the game or take Collins out of the contest.
Dempsey playing forward tonight rather than the wing, where he was able to have his starting point last year for his 35 goals. That might be free for just a bit of late interference.
Much better.
With Shannon Neal.
Let's just have a look at that and compare it to a couple of his one-on-one contests early in this game. Is that he refused to concede front spot. He just pushed his way into the middle for the first time on Collins, and then Sam Collins panics a bit, gives away a free kick. It's a good sign, good start.
Missed a few set shots in the first half, the Cats, when they did have opportunities that they really needed to capitalise on. That's one thing of many they need to change in this second half. Relaxed approach, maybe a little too much so. This is right.
She's such an imposing figure, Shannon Neal. He should be fighting for that front position at every opportunity.
Bodie Hewland tees it up down the wing. Mac Andrews stands.
Great set play, wasn't it?
And they're on out the back if he'd been able to keep his feet. The Cats didn't allow that. Miller on the wraparound keeps the progress going fast. Long, blind hand pass. King's a chance from the pocket. First step was a good one, then got mown down. Guthrie wasn't to be fooled. Holmes. Quite get it to Bailey Smith, who's having a quiet start to the season. Atkins had it spoiled, so there's a ball to be won. Lombard just pushed his way clear. He's the best tackler in the game for a reason, Atkins, and Anderson wasn't getting out of that.
But again, they turned it over inside their defensive 50 from Max Holmes.
The commitment from Ben Long to affect that spoil was brilliant.
Just enough on the kick from Atkins. Mullen, choices to be made. Off to Smith. That's a better looking kick. And Neal had Nevitt, still got Nevitt. In the end, he just pins the ears back, and if he'd done that from the start, he might have been a better chance. This is to the right. Buck's got to learn when the moment is to be in the shot and when not to be. Tonight's probably a night just to move seats.
This far down, you can't be missing chances like that. McAndrew pops the way. Bodie, you won't have to wait for it. Rioli's always on the wraparounds. Petrarca having a field day first up for the Suns. Weller from the wing. King's his target. O'Sullivan with him. King wins it on the ground. Long has got time to create. Miller lent a hand. Humphrey is bursting through once more. Curls it at the teeth of goal, so it makes it difficult for Guthrie. Kept his head about him again and gets it downfield for the late contact.
Yeah, Bruin, he was devoid of really meaningful options, wasn't he? Myers, McAndrew's been threatening all night, and again, they prefer someone else, but he won't mind at all. Christian Petrarca has announced himself on the coast. The Norm Smith medalist has 3. And he might be on the back page of the local paper tomorrow. They are making the headlines, the Suns tonight. 13 goals, total domination.
He's having a heck of a night, Chris Petrarca, but I'd love to speak to Brian Myers about what happened then. It looked like that set up for a really good rebound through the corridor. The Cats, they had some numbers, they were running forward, and then a really bad fumble from Brian Myers, and then he just stopped and handballed it straight to Mac Andrew, who was standing in front of him.
If you want a passage of play to sum the game up, have a look at how easily the Gold Coast Suns transitioned from one end of the ground to the other. It was a cakewalk from deep in defence. And then you have a look at Geelong, this super side of the last couple of decades, try and get the footy out of their back half. It was comical how bad it was. And that man there, there's all sorts of markets going crazy at the moment on Christian Petrarca.
4 half turnovers are killing the Cats. Bruin off the ground. They went sideways. Bruin's got first access. Dempsey just worked in over a bit more experience. Clark's been used sparingly. Blind hand pass. Powell has a chance, so he just turns away from the pressure and creates the play through Davies. Suns come forward again. Bit wide for Humphrey. Inside the arc, so it's a throw-in.
Yeah, it's become just a laborious grind for Geelong tonight. There's nothing that has come easy for them at all. And we're so used to seeing them transition the ball so beautifully and hitting targets inside forward 50. It's unrecognisable the way they're playing tonight, and a lot of that credit goes to the team in red. Their pressure, their willingness to come forward and put front pressure on this defence as they're trying to get out. It's just, in the end, it's just so un-Geelong-like that you've got to shake your head. You never see Brian Myers do what he just did.
15th season in the system for Jared Witts. Such a staring mark here on the Gold Coast. Get the free kick.
See if they take front spot here into the defenders, just to try and block the leading line up.
King and Reid are both back in the square. Comes to the lead of Reid. Had company. Long kept it alive. King had ideas in Reid. Different ones.
He mightn't be having a great night, but Ethan Reid has competed well. Every time he's flown, the ball's come to ground.
He's a sight too, isn't he? At that size, as you'd expect, he is moving with more confidence.
Only 6 intercept marks for the Cats. Take that.
Ruck's really locked up. He's got the hand clear to get the tap. Blitzars has an effect. Bruin, a shining light for the Cats tonight. Up freeze to Dempsey, confronted by McAndrew, so looping over the top to Ollie Henry.
Pressure.
Good work from Adams. Intense with the pressure and effective. Rioli through to Zeke Ewlands. He has taken the ball to ground, and unfortunately there was only one result that the umpire could come up with. Warple. A little bit
Away 50
careful.
here.
Yeah, 50.
A little bit silly. A little bit of inexperience.
Oh, he's reversed it.
No, that's soft. That's incredibly soft.
The Ewlands love it, but they're not exactly unbiased in the whole thing. And Anderson probably rushes the moment caught up in it.
That's a poor decision from Noah. He had Ethan Reid on his own inside 50. Leaves the reversal. It's hardly of that.
That is absolutely nothing.
And he got, I
Just
think
got caught up in the theatre.
I think the umpire thought I shouldn't have given a 50. And now I'm going to give it back.
Myers finds Clark. Eyes toward the 50. Just missed the hand pass to Warple. So the turnover comes. And close, he's got ideas. Brings it up to Lombard. Take your pick at the 50. Perfectly weighted ball for Graham. Unselfishly to King. You can go back and slot number 3.
No, you don't see that too often, guys.
No, Jace, you don't. But how often have we seen it tonight? That's the crazy thing. Just when you think it can't get much worse, you get another. It's almost that bad that you probably put one through.
They lost their structure behind the footy there. There were more forwards than defenders behind the ball.
And they haven't moved the ball in that fashion that would suggest you should be taking a risk forward of the ball.
There's a buffet of goals on offer. And Ben King makes sure he's getting his share. That's 3 for the full forward.
The only thing that's going to stop Ben King kicking, 70, 80 goals this year is probably Christian Petrarca and Bailey Humphrey.
Well, if he knows, and he's a smart man, he'll start to make up the best relationship you'll ever have with 2 players. And then he'll get under it.
But you're right, Cass. At the end of the day, and Chris Scott is very pragmatic about this. He'll put it like you. They've never, ever concerned themselves about how good you have to be at the beginning of the season. It's how good you have to be over 24 weeks to get enough wins on the board to play in September. And that's what this club is so great at, the Cats. So they're missing some manpower. There'll be a lot of things here he's not happy with. They've got some work to do. It'll be great motivation for coming weeks.
Might have reviewed the grand final, but they'll review this one.
It's an unrecognisable blue and white team in hoops that's out there at the moment. But the one in the other jumper can't be much more exciting.
Warple, the angle across inside the 50 to Jack Martin. The reach of Andrew was telling. Nevitt. Ooh, did Dempsey touch it? Yes, he did. Just inside the line. Andrew Dillon doing the tour in opening round. AFL will be very happy with how Queensland footy is going, that's for sure.
This was one tackle after another.
Yeah, Humphrey that time laid out. Blitzars. Alex Davies gets a bit of return fire from Warple.
Yeah, I think we need to be careful about, we're talking the fact that this is a one-off for Geelong. I think we need to acknowledge just how much pressure this Gold Coast Suns team is putting on.
Over the top, down to Atkins.
They're setting a high benchmark, the Suns, if this is going to be the sort of performance we're going to see.
Andrew just keeps taking off and getting involved in the chains. Reid just hasn't quite got his long arms coordinated enough, but he's not far off the mark. Nevitt to set Atkins up for a fall, but it was a heavy one on the 50. They all climb in. Nevitt reckless free kick, advantage taken, and there's every opportunity to run the full charge through the middle. Noble, which way? Short or long? He goes long, took the full plunge. Stewart hasn't killed it yet. O'Sullivan.
That's deliberate. That has to be deliberate.
Questions. And it's Farah who was nearest. Brings it into Leo. And he takes the bar.
He got the options wrong, Johnny Noble. He had short players on the short leads coming up at him. He just had to pick one. There were 2 men. He says, I better kick it long.
He made a bad blue, didn't he?
And then the Cats still made a hash of it. This is extraordinary.
Set snap, set sail. Easy does it for Leo Lombard. He kicks his second. And the Gold Coast Suns are laden with young talent. And how exciting is it? They've almost cracked the ton.
It's just game number 5 for Leo Lombard. 9 possessions, a couple of goals. He looks dangerous. He's got speed, a bit of composure.
This is the scary thing for opposition clubs, is that Zeke Euland's come on and looked like he's played 50 games.
Yep.
Lombard is a highly talented kid who's only just, they've moved a few players on so spots have opened up. Ethan Reid, we've been impressed with his work rate. He's just going to get better and better. They got him everywhere. They've got him right throughout this team. And I know I've been talking about the points from forward half intercept, which is get the footy back in your half, which is the best place to get it to score. They've scored 58 points. 89 is the highest ever. You wouldn't count them out, would you?
No, Matt Rowell and Charlie Ballard to come back from long-term injury.
4 goals the Suns have kicked since half-time, and Davies gives them another look. King couldn't quite haul it in cleanly. Guthrie's in all sorts of pressure from Lombard. Injured his shoulder in the pre-season last year, and it really scuppered him. He got 4 looks at it, one memorable. He was involved in the sub-transaction in 3 of them. He's done the full pre-season. He's ready to show his wares. Holmes and Warple, and Holmes trying to find the way. Petrarca's having none of it.
Oh. Spectacular. Oh. And I think from all the flair and the great passages of play we've seen, what will please Damien Hardwick the most is the pressure.
Get after that in the air. Farah on the ground instead. Long just didn't quite have it all coordinated. Blitzards off the last line. Henry and Guthrie got it away in the nick of time. Cats could use a mark here, but Euland's got other ideas. He's pushed to clear the way, though.
Let's go back to that chase. That's just not a chase down on anyone. It's the chase down on the fastest player in the game. Petrarca's just chased him down. He can't do much more in this match.
Henry targets the lurching Martin along the line. Where to next? It's so stagnant for the Cats.
Well, there's nothing at all. The biggest target is Neil, and he's a kick and a half away, so you're kicking it on the top of Manners' head.
Adams controls Manor. And he's enjoying himself back there, Oscar Adams. They all are. Oscar breeze blowing across People First Stadium tonight. High levels of humidity and excitement about the Suns, led by this man, Christian Petrarca. Another break, another full charge. Long. Oh, King was all on his own.
Tommy Stewart fell over.
Yeah. But again, because he was running back to goal propped and then came up at the player with the ball, he just lead up.
It's going through his head right now, Petrarca.
He's thinking good decision.
I chose wisely.
Really good decision.
He's thinking I should have gone last. He's looked as good as he's ever looked, Christian Petrarca. And that's saying something.
That is saying something. Gary's a Norm Smith medalist.
Yep.
Ben King, as always, ruthlessly efficient. His 5th disposal of the night. As going to generate his 4th goal. And the sky is the limit for the Suns. Maybe it's just the starting point for where they could reach by the end of this season. 16 goals, 8. And we are not really close to three-quarter time yet. Ben King has 4.
We've just run out of superlatives. You just can't say too much more. He'd be easily the highest ranked player on the ground, surely. He is from Bailey Humphrey. So there you go. But the run from halfback, so he walks up into a stoppage, wins the stoppage or wins the clearance from a halfback flank and just sprints away through the middle of the ground on his own. It is a bit scary the way he's gone about this. It's been brilliant to watch.
6 in a row in the game, 5 since half-time, 73 points. DeConing flies in the middle, trying to give Atkins a look. She's tagged on the way through. Clark's going to claim the advantage, which is called back.
You can really do some damage to your percentage early in the year, can't you? Not like tonight.
Yeah, it does put you a long way back.
Cats were 1 win from 3 games last year and obviously recovered.
Just come back around, Tom.
Not through for the goals.
Come back on. Stand.
A little while being returned. Atkins works it short to DeConing. Who are the deep targets? It's not a great kick to give them a look. Jeffrey came out to mark well up. The hand pass, Rioli's hot to release the footy to the satisfaction of the umpire, Miller. Noble, here he is again. And they've got 2-on-1 up near the 50. The kick wasn't quite what was required. Jack Henry made a mess of it. O'Sullivan being worked over. Suns get numbers to it on sheer work rate. Zeke Newland away to Lombard. Brings it back inboard. Powell, not paid the mark.
Come on.
Didn't seem to control it.
Yeah.
Zeke Newland put his head over the footy. Clark came the other way.
That was a clean grab. A very clean grab with a late fist coming in.
Even Jack Henry's dropping chest marks. That's how bad things have become.
Technique, both players there, shoulder to shoulder. Davies trying to winkle away through Petrarca. It's Davies again, ran out of space. Atkins takes him down. Powell, hold it out.
Cats trying something different.
It's a bit late for that.
Bailey is prone to do something unexpected. Davies for company at the moment. Coney back in the ruck, but Witz is really then commanding. Holmes just a snap along the wing, won't quite get to Martin. Reckless courage from Clark. He has a crack. But again, the Suns prevail from Adams to Millavale, literally lining up everywhere. Rioli sets up Noble. It's not quite a goal. It was good pressure back the other way. Stewart under siege. They come, they just keep coming. One after another after another. It's a long night for the Cats, but sheer delight for the Suns as Ben Long puts through a second and the Suns have 17.
There's a relentless pressure here that the Suns are just enjoying. They're relishing it. They're going, how good is this? It works against the best teams.
We've seen Geelong do this to teams so many times over the last couple of decades. I don't know when's the last time they got opened up by 100, but that's the way this is heading, because there is absolutely no sign that the Gold Coast Suns are letting up. They're just pushing forward, and there's no real sign that the Cats are getting their head around playing some half-decent footy. As we said, when Jack Henry comes out and drops chest marks, then...
And that is the standout, isn't it? Just the pressure, the ability to turn the ball over. And as you said, Christian Petrarca is on a heater. Already, this is his 4th highest rated performance of his career.
That was the Harvey Norman replay.
So that's the 110-point defeat against Sydney in 2014 that you've called for, Gaz.
Saw Bailey Smith getting aggressive at a stoppage before. He's only had the 8 possessions. Hasn't been his night. He's been well held.
It's creative. Davies couldn't make the most of it. O'Connor dispossessed. Davies has a fresh go. Noble and Petrarca just finds the way through the front. Beautiful ball inside 50.
Well, I think his ball use has been... Yeah. He hasn't always been the best kick. As I said pre-game, the only knock on him was he was a bit of a banger, and his goal kicking wasn't great. And I did read today where he's been working really hard with the kicking coach here on the Gold Coast, and on the evidence we've seen, it's worked.
And you've got to give credit to the entire mindset of the Suns players. It's lower the eyes, keep it low, hit the lead-up player.
Will Graham, his year last year ruined by a couple of injuries, shoulder and then hamstring, to get in on the act. Graham's sprayed it. Won't score.
Stand to the 9.
And the toughest part for the Cats to swallow is still a quarter and 5 minutes remaining. Can they get out of the night? O'Sullivan. McAndrew! Oh! Vaults into the air, and the only disappointment of the night for the Suns is he didn't bring it down. He's been threatening to try and get goal of the year, and then he just leapt up for mark.
What about the second lift that he got? After jumping on top, he gets a second lift. There, up he goes again. That would have been
one of the greats.
Way out in front of anything we've seen for a long time.
On Shannon Neal's head. He's having fun out there, McAndrew.
It really is.
What might have been night for him. Nothing from that passage. Oh, yes, there was the last disposal. Stand corrected. It's Dempsey's ball.
That was just a tap, though, wasn't it? If there's any doubt, it's normally a throw-in.
The art can get involved in these things now.
Max laughing. Yeah, sorry, Max laughing. Yeah. Shannon Neal. Shannon Neal wasn't laughing.
29-point margin. It's planted in front. Anderson on the move at the back. Stripped of the ball, got it back, fed it on. Humphrey links it up to Rioli. Noble's been flowing all term, and he will collect another. He's had eyes for that for half an hour. Noble with his second 8 in a row at 85 points.
I don't know what to say anymore, guys.
Well, the only thing is, and you got into these situations more than I would have, when your team is this dominant, when you have got a team like they are gone, then everyone starts to take liberty. And you look at them go here. Look at them all running because they know they're going to get a lick of the ice cream. And Johnny Noble's been at the forefront of it all. So
could have gone inside, could have gone outside with the hand pass here.
Yep. And this is when you're the team on the other end of it. It's just if you're the forward, you're just a defender because they're going at every chance.
Rioli and Noble off half-back have been very good. The run that they've provided.
Kicked 3 goals all season. First up for the Suns. He's got 2 tonight.
And look out. It's Brad close on him. He's just sitting there going, oh no. He's going to go off again in a minute.
Witts has done that all night. Well read though by Holmes. Off to Smith. A rare bit of Dash Brothers combination. They go down Collins Street again though. The sergeant, as they call him, Sam Collins. One by Henry. Back from Holmes. Atkins. Look, big Witsy playing tackles across half-back. They are doing way more than just the fancy stuff tonight, aren't they? It started at the pressure. This time, they don't win the little mini battle. Max Holmes, who's been well up a better catch tonight. His 21st disposal coming up.
Should give it a run.
Sam Collins just about to take that with his eyes closed. Has it gone over the line? They might be due another review, right?
Takes it cleanly. Is there a fumble? It's a clean grab.
I think we've seen all we need to see.
Review complete. Looking at this angle, we can see the ball is controlled before crossing the back of the line. Decision on scoreboards.
He's been great too. In his 150th, the whole back line has been miserly. They're not giving anything up despite doing 80-odd points up.
Well, they're literally not giving anything up in this quarter. The Cats just 2 behinds. Suns 7 further goals to expand their lead. Blitzars, little control over the kick. Miller confronted by Atkins, just brushes him aside. And Powell weaves his way through, out to the wing. Underground with Clark, fired out the handball to Guthrie. Again, slowed down. Bruins' skills have been one of the real pluses for the Cats. There hasn't been too many. Smith, and again Collins leads his opponent to the ball. Rousing up the crowd. McAndrew takes off. Miller reroutes instead. Daniel Rioli spotted Mac, who kept on running. He can't complete the play.
Too easy, the mark.
Another almost moment for him. He's just about out of gas. Rioli goes back after it again. The ball finds Mac. And across to Miller. It is a slippery conveyance. Atkins rounds it up. Got it back from Stewart, which he really wanted it. And Tanner Bruin again.
He's had plenty of it on his return tonight. And gives the forwards a look. So he's gone for Neil. He's got double coverage. Collins across the front. It means Dempsey's a chance in the pocket. And the Cats finally get a goal in the second half.
Few and far between. He's been a rock in defence, Sam Collins. He's been affecting some big spoils. If he realised how much space he had there, he probably would have taken the mark.
His last 2 he could have marked.
Yeah, but safety first, relying on teammates then to mop up, and that's one of the very few times they haven't had numbers in the right spot. See McAndrews just labouring to get back a bit. They've been running off so hard.
Mac's been lining up a goal for the last 15 minutes.
But it's great for Mac Andrew, though, as well, isn't it? Like, he's provided excitement for us, but we know he's still going to make an error or two, but what he can actually bring this team, we've seen plenty of glimpses of that tonight. Anderson out of the middle. We saw that last year plenty of times. He tries to share it with Reed. Nicely scooped up by Stewart to put a stop to it. Humphrey. The Cats found Blitzards, but he couldn't find Sheen Mullen. Myers hasn't been as sure with the footy tonight, which is probably understandable given his hand injury. He overcome just to play tonight. Bailey Smith trying to generate something through the middle. Max there. Spoiled Clark. No whistle. Bruin. Smith. Back through the middle to Holmes. Awkward for Blitzards. Play on was the call. More crash and bash from the Suns. Andrew with plenty of time. Little pop kick to Anderson. Looking for a run from behind.
Just one crunch tackle after another.
Out wide to Jeffrey.
Have a look at the 3-on-1 in their forward 50.
Yeah.
There's 3 Gold Coast Suns on 1 in their forward pocket.
Just got to spot it. Sam Closey, every extra reason to rub it into the Cats, given they dispatched his brother. Humphrey over the top. He's slammed into the turf. Ethan Reid.
He's got his hands to a few Ethan Reid tonight. They just haven't stuck.
What do they do at 3/4 time, Jace, do you think?
Yes.
Witts trying to feed long. It's got some numbers to it. It's kept it alive for Clark to try to clear. Bruin coming hard. Got away from Anderson. Breaks through the defensive line and kicks it out on the full.
But you're already thinking about next week.
Well, one will stay forward, the rest can push forward.
Anderson trying to tap it on Holmes. Push the other way. As worked by Adams. Weller. And now Closey. Trying to give Reed a look up near the 50. Humphreys was well positioned. Jack Henry tidies up for the Cats. Blitzards. Clark and Bailey Smith. Myers is forward of the play. Thought about the link-up run. Couldn't quite fashion the hand pass. So goes for Stewart. All alone on the wing. Assesses what's on offer. Manor was his target. Just kept away from him. Ball gets all the way out the back where Dempsey closes. Noble did well. He's been running forward all night, running back. He did it with just such determination.
Very close trying to make the case. This was insufficient intent. There was plenty of intent about it. He did it brilliantly. Collins doing some ruck work. No space there for Manor. Miller. Reflex handballs from the Suns. Chained up to put Weller into the clear. Lombard has a little look over the shoulder, looks ahead, and Henry was a step ahead on that occasion. Humphreys from half forward, launched forward towards Ollie. Henry got through Rioli's fingers and close. Snaps to Dempsey. And I don't think there's anyone in the game that takes as many marks as that as close to goal as Ollie Dempsey.
Just a little breakdown there between the two brothers.
Hop through for another one. Third for Dempsey, fourth in a row for the Cats. It's Lethal's rule again about goals and minutes.
He continues to push forward. We know he's very good at it. Ollie Dempsey gets another goal to the board, but it's just a conversation between the Yulin brothers because it was Dodie that was there wanting a call to come back and understand that there was a man about to fly over the top, and it was Zeke, the younger brother, who was at the back that perhaps didn't give the voice he needed to. Didn't realise, and you can see the look on older brother's face saying, mate, you've got to let me know, you've got to tell me if someone's about to jump on the head.
Zeke's going to learn, or he will have learned. He's a footy lover. He will know that Ollie Dempsey comes from the wing and does this so often, and that's his opponent. So
there's 4 Suns there and 1 Cat. That's what the disappointing part is from a son. He was flat. Then he saw it with his brother and said, I won't go too hard.
Had it not been his brother, he might have got a nice blistering.
4 in the losing cause in the grand final, 3 in the losing cause tonight for Dempsey. It's a hard one in the middle. Easy about Warple's debut for the Cats. On the move, Graham, kind of hanging off him. Get rid of it to satisfaction of the umpire. Bruin pops it up. Neil's coming from the side. Dempsey's there again. He'll have a ping at number 4. When he gets hot, there's few that pile them up the way Ollie Dempsey does. And that, oddly enough, is 5 in a row. He's kicked 4 of them.
He's on. Now is a great lesson for the young man.
Well, that's right. And I reckon, I'm just watching the runner, and I wouldn't be surprised if Damien Hardwick leaves him out there and says, righto, son, you've been impressive in this first half. You're getting a bit of a footy lesson about how to play the wing, or how one of the best wingers play it.
Yep.
Now let's see you knuckle down here and work your way through it. So he's staying out there.
He's looked good with the footy when he's had it young, Geelong, but the defensive side of his game is something that he's going to have to work on, obviously.
And he's played for 3.5 or 3 quarters.
Just let him get goal side gas.
Yeah, so what his experience of AFL footy is 3 quarters of dominance, which has all gone one way. And he's been able to read it, get on the end of it and work hard. Now, the last 15 minutes, he's getting the experience of footy when it's not going their way, and he's learning lessons.
What a damaging wingman Dempsey is, hitting the scoreboard. Slight fumble from Walpole, and that's all the Suns needed. Anderson jams it on the boot, deep towards King. Jack Henry does enough. Humphrey trying to up the ante, back the other way. Ben King backs through the pack. Couldn't dispose of it legally.
It's the strangest of games, isn't it? So we haven't seen as one-sided game as this as last night after half-time. And now they've kicked 5 goals in a row.
4 in the last turn with a pressure factor.
I suspect that's got something to do with it.
Guthrie has enough punch on the kick. O'Sullivan wanted to share it with Humphreys. He had to wait though. Guthrie came to make it good up to the wing. And Lombard did well. Saw a little opening. Kept it in. He just couldn't quite work back in with Ethan Reid. It's going to be a crowd favourite, I think. Leo Lombard, his body, he looks like he's 3-4 years into his career. Power in the hips, thighs.
Well, Zeke Gillen's been relieved of the
change
job
of wings, I think.
of Ollie Dempsey, so close he's gone over to him.
And Zeke goes and stands on Bailey Smith. So he might learn to run.
That might be the message, Jace, the subliminal message. You got to run, son.
Slightly more respectable for the Cats at 56. Sticking close, is Zeke. Hits again. Warple, no means of disposing. Great tackling, relentless from the Suns. Jeffries pops it up. And was there a jumper being tugged? It was. It's gone against Bailey Humphrey.
No, against Ethan Reid.
Take his front spot all night, come on, Sullivan.
Yeah.
5 in the Rising Star last year. Connor. It's a bit easier in Ireland than they are back in Australia. Guthrie long down the line. Neil had a mind to get it to the back. Collins has support. Jeffrey onto it. Mac Andrew. The treat was on, but the sideways kick is perfect and noble. The Suns can reset. Closely gets himself motoring, having been worked a long way forward by Dempsey. Finds the outlet, finds Rioli.
He sprinted 80 metres to get that down Rioli.
There was too much for Brad Close. He just gave up in the end. He just couldn't go.
Manor made the spoil and the Cats have got it back. Myers got run down low. Noble stiff not to get hold of the ball. Miller will fling it around for a closey, and Anderson. King has drawn the eye. Humphrey out the back. Not this time. Not in the ball.
Ladies are getting restless.
Well, the crowd has thinned a little, Gaz. I've got all the Geelong supporters that are up here on holiday for the long weekend. A few of them motivated early exit. So the home team have the great majority of the fans. They're a little bit surprised about what the last quarter has given. The Cats are giving their best. It's too little too late. A bit of a limp up for Ollie Henry. And it's not 50. He's parting it up. Kick goes deep and a little deeper. Bounces for Collins. He knew where the help was. Mack down the line to Power with instructions. Ball chain was good. Closey over the top to Newland Senior. Brody finds Noah. Anderson at half-back. Gives everyone a little bit of respite. And that extra run on the overlap came from Closey. And to claim that win for his own this year. Taxing night, I'm sure, for everyone. Quite for Reed. We've said that a few times.
It just hasn't happened for him. He continues to compete, but just hasn't been able to grab any place.
Yeah, you won't if you don't keep turning up, and he has kept turning up all night. He just hasn't been able to clump one.
Reed went it down. Warble back to Stewart. Atkins. Run over by Graham. Good stuff. On the ball over and out.
Contemplating their 16th season in charge for Chris Scott. Some of us saw the contract extended through to 2029.
Freo next week too for the Cats, so it doesn't get much easier.
Shallow throw in. Coming arrived, couldn't do anything with it.
Should get a bit of help back though from a talent point of view.
Over in Perth?
No, it's at home.
Yeah. Well, the Freo have got a pretty good record down there, haven't they?
Not last year, but
no.
Yeah, they have. You're right. Jason at times upset the Cats.
Just held on a bit too long.
Freo and the Suns, they're two of the teams that could be there.
Yep.
Made some space. Shots down the line. Neil draws the footy, has a fly, couldn't hang on, so Collins loose at the back. Dempsey hunting him down. All back into dispute, and dragged down by Jeffrey.
All the heat's gone out of the game now, hasn't it?
Playing out of obligation.
Yep.
Suns have got West Coast and Richmond as their next two.
They've got a real chance to repeat what they did last year in the first four.
Clark through the stoppage to an unguarded goal front. It was never online.
Their run is tougher at the back end of the season.
With respect to their next two opponents, getting the big percentage tonight, it does give them a chance to get a long way out in front.
Tougher in last year's parlance.
Yes, that's true. You never know, do you?
Not sure what that looks like as this season unfolds.
Yeah, the tap. He's back the Suns' way. They'll be in a good position to make the 10 after tonight, won't they, really, and everyone's expectations?
They've got a nice percentage head start, although they've lost a bit this last quarter. The pressure, the whole thing's just dropped off, and what has been as impressive as anything was what their heat was in that first three quarters, which is one of the reasons that Geelong couldn't move the footy. Now they can get it out of their back half without any problems, and they've kicked a few goals as a result. But in the first three quarters, when the heat was on, they could not move the ball.
I conceded, and Newland brings it in to Joel Jeffrey.
It is Knight's work. He took him all on, forged his way through, ran a mile, sets them up for King to have a fly. Long underneath. Just couldn't quite find the handle on the footy. Lombard followed it all the way down, but Atkins wrenched it away from him. O'Sullivan Humphreys close against the boundary, brings it in. Just missed O'Sullivan. Guthrie. Suns got a couple of spares inside 50, so Myers works it out to the side. Didn't really give Manor the hope that he wanted, and the Suns' numbers should come into effect here.
Collins led the way. There's a Sun down.
Noble.
It's Noble. He's moving their way despite the fumble. No issues for Weller. Tosses it up high. He got height there. King not quite. Hard for a one grabber tonight. Still got faith that Mac Andrew might give us one last highlight before the siren sounds. Cats defence back under pressure again. O'Connor was feeling a significant heat. Long, wild handball. O'Sullivan, just one scoop required. Laid it off. Its kicker smothered. Bailey Smith, and again they run into a dead end in the form of John Noble. Lombard keeps it in. He doesn't want this game to end. Oh, the umpire, sport.
Someone else came from a long way to be able to contest. Smith couldn't find the way out.
We just saw Christian Petrarca at that last stoppage just
imploring his teammates to keep talking and stay up.
Get away with it on offer. Davies and Andrew have anyone to go to. Jeffrey searching for a target. He's gone to the 2-on-2. Sullivan hand to it. Long goes over at the wrong moment. Petrarca centering ball's a beauty. And Graham can have a shot.
And as you spoke earlier about his chase, his smother, the things that will endear him to his teammates and to the coaches are things like that, and his use of the ball, bringing other players into the game. Not the 30 touches and the 3 goals. We know he can do that, but it's the team ethos that he's shown us tonight that's been exciting.
Yeah, well, he's kicked at 83%. Yeah. That is a fantastic result.
Graham has been a Suns member since the age of 6. He won't have seen many Gold Coast teams play better than what he's been part of tonight. Can't join it with a goal, at least.
There's a couple he's missed to the right, one out in the full at the other end.
Bruin. Possession 29. Welcome back for him to AFL footy. Dempsey, closely, is playing much tighter. Constricting him, but still the Cats are able to win the ball. Mana doesn't quite come together for him. Rioli sees to that.
It has to be a bit lost, Hutto, hasn't it, Tanner Bruin's night, given we've been waxing lyrical about Gold Coast. So that is a terrific return. He can find the footy, there's no question about that.
And I know his disposal efficiency is at 69%, but he has used the ball pretty well.
He's been one of the few trying to create things when he's actually won the ball.
There is that. Things are sorted out. It's SUNS. Rare freedom to get the tap down. Advantage paid. Petrarca. One-on-one's ahead. Farrah King. Timely shove. Can't quite capitalise. 2 Cats all over him. O'Connor and O'Sullivan.
We talked about the ruckman pre-game as well and whether it was going to be an issue. Well, they've won clearance, the Cats 37-33. They've won centre bounce clearance 17-9, which is staggering. It hasn't felt like that.
No, it hasn't. O'Sullivan. Time will tell what the omission of the actual centre bounce impact is going to have on the game too.
Got a 50 here.
He's there. Trot up beyond the wing as they all filter forward. Shannon Neal trying to make his move on Sam Collins.
It's slow getting back here, the Suns.
Yeah. Eyes probably beyond him. Now Noble asked permission to get up to where the mark was taken, which is probably wise, but fairly logical.
You'd be on high alert. You'd be on high alert, I think.
Bailey Smith standing on his own.
Myers. What's he got in mind here, Grime? Out to the right. Tried to do all the arithmetic, but just didn't quite get the geometry right. It's behind. The whole game has just come to a bit of a...
we haven't got much at this end.
You all commented out.
Well, the superlatives have run dry. For 3 quarters, they just dragged everything out of us. Although here we can get another one for track.
He's played it well for Lombard. The stocks have lifted tonight. Weller on the wraparound. King will have a jump over the top.
Yeah, Lombard is another real positive. Yep. He's looked absolutely like so comfortable at the level. I think you said, Hutto, he's had a couple of pre-seasons. It looks like a player that's been in the system for long enough.
Big pre-season too. His shoulder injury derailed last year. Subbed in and out in 3 of his 4 games.
It's a few yards.
Well, you can't kick it any harder.
No, you can't. You have to be very careful. Weller, keep it going the Suns' way. Myers works it around to Humphreys. He's got the kick up to Manor. He's just sat it on his head. Jeffrey had nice control. That was a deft touch. And the kick's a beauty as well. He finds his captain.
I don't know if he was the intended target, but it found a target inside 50.
4 behinds tonight, Noah Anderson.
He's had to work hard too, no Anderson. The possessions haven't come easily. He's worked his way up. This will be number 24. As you said, 0-4, kicking at 50%.
That's the greatest no-look pass in the history of footy. If you bet that.
Noah Anderson. Deep breath. There's a lot to absorb for the Suns tonight and their leader. Can he finish off with a goal? Anderson makes it all gravy. At last he finds the target. Suns' first goal of the final term. They push it back beyond the 10-goal threshold.
Well, he's going to get a lot of attention, Noah Anderson. He's had it tonight. Mark O'Connor for much of the night. A bit of O'Sheen Mullen as well. So he's had the hard tag. He's had to work hard after a slow start, up to 24 possessions. He's got the 6 clearances to his name. 12 contested possessions, 12 score involvements, never stops working, and finally rewards himself with a goal.
That's the sealer, Case. Even under lethal thrills.
Well, what might be, that's consideration now. It is a marathon, of course. They just happen to have sprinted out of the gates, and we all acknowledge the talent that they've got in the group, and they've had a terrific first exposure to finals footy last year, and couldn't have started this 2026 in much finer shape.
That's still whacking away. Alex Davies taken down by Blitzards. The tireless 296 gamer off to Holmes into the pocket. Never came out hard. Just rapid fire through the fingertips.
Crowd's 19,859. They would love to have been in the 20,000s. Probably just a few more than they got in the end.
Yeah, forecast maybe kept a few away. And that man's going to bring them through the gates. Christian Petrarca. Reed, not 15. Smith take it away initially, but recovered by Bruin. Great smother. Oh, that might have cost a finger injury for Daniel Rioli.
Finger or in the spot where you don't want to get one.
Yeah,
in the bread basket, perhaps.
Let's take it away. Spearing ball from Martin. Great pick up by Close. But Dempsey put together a 50. Would have had a lot to go right for him there. Nevitt out to Ollie Henry. He was able to snap it through. All clear for another. Rioli hasn't quite recovered his breath. But the Cats have recovered some dignity in the last quarter. That is their 5th goal of the term.
They continue to run it out. They continue to work.
Second for Ollie Henry.
And the work rate had to drop off for the Suns. Their investment in the first 3 quarters was extraordinary. And the one thing we do know about the Cats is they're going to roll over. They don't run up the flat.
Yeah, Damien Hardwick's not given the cook for not being able to run the game out. They expended that much energy in setting it up. Couldn't have been more impressive, and there's a bit of an inevitability about the fact that it was going to run in, particularly given it's the first game of the year. Run into a bit of a brick wall, and the Cats have been good enough to hang on. 5 goals.
6-6 warning against Geelong.
Just ran into the Andrews brick wall as well. They've had a warning each now on the 6-6-6. Reed tried to tap to his own advantage. Stuck with the parcel. Petrarca hand pass to Powell. Suns get a look inside 50. Long in the wrestle. Stewart. Henry. Farron charging. Humphrey corralling. Kick will find Dempsey. Just got offloaded. Davies. Petrarca. Anderson. Oh, just spilt the milk. Petrarca goes again. Threw it up to Atkins.
What about the forward line of the Suns with Jamara and Walter to still potentially come back? They're not going to be able to fit them all in, are they?
Well, that's right, which is a great luxury to have, Hunter, because you just play the ones that are informed, the ones that are working to the system that you're playing.
Clark made good space, and he's got a free swing at goal. Can't find the direction.
What it does do is give Damien Hardwick so many options.
The 23rd player, I guess, allows you to manoeuvre things a little bit, potentially. But dynamic forward line, isn't it, with Humphrey and Petrarca. Ben King's fixture. Farah came in late in the season last year.
And the other good news is Charlie Ballard, who did that ACL early last season, had his first full game in the twos.
I think they're good. They're very well set up behind the ball, the Suns.
Oscar Adams has done anything wrong, has he, tonight?
But they're great in the midfield, and they're great now ahead of the ball, so it's looking very strong.
Farah back onto it. Otherwise, the other one, who I don't think will be out of the team unless he's injured. Powell trying to accelerate. Bangs it up into the forward line. Heavy body work between Humphrey and Stewart. What's the reading? Free kick goes to the Cats, captain of the night. Banner's not happy.
Hard to argue with that.
Battered down by Farah. They don't want the ball to leave the forward line just yet. Back out by Petrarca. Well up to Lombard. Leo Lombard. Not quite. Enjoy calling Leo this year.
Had some options, Leo. A little bit of cramp setting in. They have worked so hard in this game. It's going to be a great win. See, there's been some average kicks coming out of the Cats' defence.
Bruins on the move. He has been all night. Dempsey's forced himself into things. This play's gone on. Nevitt and Smith's ended up taking a lot of metres. Ollie Henry used the body illegally. Disguising. Pushing back.
Talking about Hutto, he did particularly well there. Oscar Adams, front position, turned around, got his eyes on the footy, put pressure on the forward to try and make something happen. Henry just pushed him out under the footy. And he gets the free kick. So they've got a lot to work with. A really good age profile about a lot of their players.
Just kicked a couple of goals. All the heaps done out of half-back. Reid has had a presence about him for sure and certain tonight.
One had to stick. Has worked tirelessly, but he does like to present.
So the seconds count down. The Gold Coast Suns did all the damage in the first 3 quarters. Stretching the Cats. Cats may have been undermanned. But this is an opening round performance to take notice of. Christian Petrarca and the Suns could not have made a better first impression in 2026. Dominant performance by the Gold Coast Suns, and it all started with Bailey Humphrey, Alistair Lynch.
Thanks, Harry. Yes, Bailey Humphrey just lit up People First Stadium in the first quarter. That looked like fun.
It was very good fun. Always good by winning by that kind of margin. Makes the footy a little bit fun, and yeah, I think that's the thing I was striving on, is our ball movement to make it a little bit more exciting for the fans as well, but also exciting for us forwards.
Oh, absolutely. You dined out beautifully. You talked about your ball movement, but that was on the back of an enormous pressure to turn the ball over. Your numbers in the forward half turnovers were almost career high.
Yeah, it helps getting track in, playing forward half footy as a mid, and then you get the likes of Noah, Chuk, Al Davies just going inside and hunting the footy and then tracking that, getting forward, so it helps.
Well, that looked like fun playing with track too. What's he been like through the summer?
Oh yeah, he's been nothing but great. He's such a people's person. He loves hanging out with. He hangs out with everyone. He's got a good spread, and yeah, I think he's been great for the club, and yeah, I think we're very lucky to have him.
It looked like you had fun there. You shared the ball and you kicked one of your goals off a handball from him.
Yeah, no, it's good fun. And so me and him sort of play the same, so I'm learning a thing or two off him.
You probably was kept out of the middle a bit more than we've seen in past years.
No, well, when he's playing like that, it's hard to get him out of there. But yeah, hopefully over the next couple of weeks, I can get myself in there. But I think it's on me now as well. I'm just trying to throw some balls, I guess, and get in there.
What was the biggest thing that Dimmer's actually put on the club? You come off a career best year last year. what do you have to do to take it to the next level?
Well, we're just starting fresh. I think, Dimmer's really strong on toughness and, stepping in on the ball. And I think if we set it off for contest and defence, then the footy will come on the back of that.
Tell us a little bit about the man that celebrated 150 games at the other end of the ground. He's one of the elite defenders now. Tell us about him and what he brings.
Just Colin's a special person to the club. Nothing but like a great defender, and having him, and we try and attack in a manner that we can defend, so that we keep him happy, make sure that he's setting up behind the ball, and every time the ball goes to him, I'll put my house on it that he's going to mark it or bring it to ground or send a 20-metre spoil out of bounds. So I love the bloke, and the whole club does, and I'm glad we could get it done for him tonight.
And at the other end of his career, young Leo Lombard, he's got some confidence and got some game.
Yeah, I think that's good. Dimmer's sent him out here to just play off his instinct and back himself in, because he can play obviously, and I feel like last year he got a bit caught up in where he had to be on the ground and got a bit in his head, so now he's just playing with freedom, and look what happens.
You got some stars out there, and you were one of them. Well done tonight.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
What a performance by Bailey Humphrey on the ground and in the post-match interview, Jason.
Yes, he's a straight shooter, isn't he? He just says what comes out of his mouth. Look, there is going to be a lot of fun playing in this team, and they are entertaining. They have built a very strong squad. The pieces of the puzzle are coming together. They've got terrific young players coming in, great leadership, and we just saw a display tonight with a couple of players, including a Brownlow medalist, still to come back. There is a lot to look forward to as this season progresses.
All right, so Gaz, the Cats obviously well short of the mark, the reigning runners-up, but the big story is the home team, and it's going to be a hot ticket in town, isn't it, if they're going to put up performances like this? A 56-point win over the Cats.
Indeed, Hutto, they were so impressive. They got the big stage on Friday night, and they didn't let anyone down. Jonathan Brown told us pre-game that Queensland football's flying, the Brisbane Lions rowing their side of the boat, and now these Gold Coast Suns are emerging. They've played finals, they've won a final, they've come out and absolutely donkey whip. Absolutely. Geelong Footy Club that doesn't get beaten like this too often, so couldn't have been more impressive.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be 100 point at one stage. Obviously, they ran out of gas, but this is an outstanding display, and they needed this prime time, big crowd, the focus of Southeast Queensland on them tonight, and they delivered. They delivered in style, so I can guarantee that close to 20,000, they'll all be back again for the next one.
What I liked was that they got great result out of Petrarca and Humphreys ahead of the ball, and we'll talk about them a bit later through the night, but I love the enthusiasm that Lombard and Newland in the first game have brought to this group as well, so very, very exciting.
You mentioned pre-game that it could be the biggest sport in Queensland. I mean, if they play like that, it's a high bar. They've set a high bar tonight against the reigning grand finalists, but if they play like that, that's what attracts the crowd in a market that hasn't been dominated by AFL, as you know, but that's as complete of a performance as you can see.
And I think it will resonate even more strongly by virtue of the opposition. Like, everyone knows, if you're not a rusted on AFL supporter, you know that Geelong Footy Club's been the measuring stick over a couple of decades, and when you sit down tomorrow and if you didn't see the game and you have a look at the newspaper or whatever and you go, I've beaten Geelong by 56 points. That's right. It's going to make them sit up and take note.
Grand finalists last year. Yeah, it was.
Just by the way, Christian Petrarca is going to join us very shortly as well on the back of
what a game that was. We're trying to check whether it was at the highest rated game we've seen in his career.
At the end, he was just knackered. The ball just kept falling in his lap.
One of those nights.
And you talk about Damien Hardwick. Okay, without Damien Hardwick, you're not getting a Christian Petrarca.
Yeah.
So Hardwick has brought credibility to this organisation. Now players of the calibre of Christian Petrarca and Daniel Rioli and the like, they want to come here and play now because they think they're a genuine chance to win a premiership. And what we saw tonight, in a style point of view, Gaz, that style of footy, that wins premierships.
It does.
We've seen that with Richmond, haven't we?
Yeah, my word, the pressure for everything else, and this is Friday Night Footy on Fox, brought to you by Ford, for everything else that we saw tonight, and we'll unpack it, we'll take our time, we'll highlight and celebrate and champion all the players that had big nights. The thing that was as impressive was that team there felt hurried. Like, if you could go down there and put the lasso of truth around it, they'd say we felt hurried. The back line say we had no time, we had no space, we couldn't exit out of our defensive half. The midfield, although they won't set it out clearance, which staggers me. But the midfield would say the amount of times they just ran away from us was unbelievable. So we saw Mac Andrew with a big smile on his face. It was a bit of party time after half time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the pleasing thing, as you said, both sides of the ball. And no doubt when Dimmer and the coaching staff reviewed the game, it would be more about the defensive side, the pressure and all that culminated in them being an offensive threat. But it's hard to find a player that didn't perform his role. I even look down to guys like Adams. I mean, I haven't watched much of him play, but he's tough. Yeah. There's an underbelly of this side that's genuinely tough. When you look at Long and Jeffrey, Adams, Lombard, that
was good because Humphreys touched on that, didn't he? He said they want to be a tough team. They want to have a toughness about it. Clearly, that's come from the coach. And a lot of it resembles that tough Richmond team that won those premierships. So you're right, they're good, strong, tough characters.
And we talk about, Christopher Petrarca was a pick too, I think, back in the day. He's talking to a guy, Lombard, who was in a top 10 pick, right? And then you had Hewlin, it would have been a top 2 pick. I don't know where he ended up.
Top 2, yeah.
He went 2, yeah. Yep. So all of a sudden you're adding quality to a group that just played and won a first final, Tommy. It's a pretty imposing look.
Oh, it's sure. And the reliability, as we see Sam Collins lead him off. And wasn't he terrific? Again, one of those players that goes under the radar a bit, just the reliability. And I think that's, they've got the star power now across the ground, but the reliability piece of tonight's performance is something that I think that they can reflect on and draw a lot of confidence out of.
Stay with us, we'll get the team song, and then Christian Petrarca will join us and we'll talk to a man who's had a tough couple of years. The year before last, when he had the injury and missed a lot of footy, we understand he worked his way back, and Jared read out his numbers from last year. Like, the perception was he had a bad year, or he had a quiet year, or he was runner-up in the best and fairest and polled 16 votes, in the Brownlow. Yeah. He didn't have a quiet year. He had a terrific year in an environment that had probably come to the end. They'd both been good enough for each other, and a move was what was needed. And then we saw it tonight, and he's going to cop it pretty heavy, I would have thought, and he's going to enjoy it.
Oh, just a ball in the face.
All right, folks, there we go. Game, set, match. The theme song's been sung down in the Gold Coast rooms. It was the Gold Coast 1911-125 defeating the Cats 10-9-69. 56-point margin to the Gold Coast Suns. They look very, very good indeed. Taddy, how you doing in the live chat? Welcome in. I think the Suns just took the foot off the pedal a little bit in that final term. It was looking like it was going to blow out to a 100-point margin, but the Cats fought back reasonably well, so that's not too bad by them. All right, folks, hey, that's all we've got for this game this evening. Let me just have a quick look at the games. So far we've had, of course, Sydney Swans defeating Carlton 132-69. We've got tonight's game, of course, the Suns 125-69 again to the Cats. Of course, games still to come. We've got tomorrow's game, the Giants and Hawthorn, followed by the Brisbane Lions and the Western Bulldogs. And, of course, don't forget Sunday, Collingwood and St Kilda battle it out there. So it should be another great game for the rest of round one. It should be ring-a-ding-ding games. Actually, they're all quite good. But that's all I've got for this one. Hey, thanks all for joining on in. The poll got it right tonight. 69% went for the Gold Coast Suns in the live chat if you're here. Well done. You got it right again. All right, folks, that's all I got for this one. So until the next game, thanks all for coming in. Hope you enjoyed the coverage. Until next time, ciao for now, and we'll see you at the next game.